says, hey, I don't mind using my passport to fly, that's fine. That will work for you May 7th and beyond. And there are people who, have different circumstances. So we definitely, appreciate that and just have something that's going to work for you at the checkpoint based on your personal circumstances.
And records show about 41% of Minnesotans already have received their real ID, and demand is increasing ahead of the May 7th deadline. Also increasing is the turnaround time between applying and receiving a real ID card. You will still be able to fly after that date if you have a passport. And the Minnesota Twins announcing today that they'll host 6 prep baseball games at Target Field this season and sponsor a pair of softball games at the University of Minnesota. The first high school game is Saturday between Byron and Stewart. It'll follow the Twins' home game against Detroit. Lakeville North and Lakeville South face each other next Wednesday, with Highland Park taking on St. Paul Academy Summit School that same evening. All that information can be found on twinsbaseball.com. It is 3:06 here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
CCO. Let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Linda's Construction, lindasconstruction.com. West 94 at Cretin got an accident working off to the right side. Traffic is slow as you come away from Snelling Avenue. Opens up only to slow again at Highway 280 as you continue into downtown Minneapolis. East 94 jammed up out of Laurie Hill Tunnel and over to the work zone. Watching slowdowns. North 35W has come up from about Franklin Avenue heading up to the University. Cross down westbound. Get ready for the slowdowns there as you make way toward 28th Avenue. April is a great time to call Linda's Construction. You can get free installation labor on quality Leaf Guard brand gutters and siding. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
In this forecast, brought to you by Gutman Law, Wills Trust, and Probate Law. Visit gutmanlaw.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
There's not much rain in the forecast. No snow. Don't panic. The chance of rain, though, will be tomorrow. Starting the day around 36, warming up to 56. The showers, very isolated in nature. The threat of rain will linger into the first half of the day on Thursday as we hit a high of 50. The big headline is the warm-up. 60 on Friday. We could hit 70 on Sunday.
All right, thank you, Chris. Right now, sunny and 46 degrees. I'm Mark Fry. News Talk 830 WCCO.
What's happening? If it's happening in your neighborhood, if it's happening in the Twin Cities, if it's happening in Minnesota, it's on News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DERUSHA.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
And here's the star of the show and your host, Jason DERUSHA.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DERUSHA.
Today, there is almost nothing that Democrats and Republicans agree on, but they both agree that one unit of government that we have is a train wreck. I choose that expression intentionally. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason here along with Dan, Mark Fry on the news. We start with the Met Council, and I think it's time to wipe it out. It just is time to abolish the Met Council and start with something fresh. At a minimum, we should be electing these commissioners because the appointed commissioners have proven time and time again, even after the incredible focus that we've had on the Met Council because of the delays, of the cost overruns when it comes to that Southwest Light Rail extension, they still are screwing it up. Met Council came in front of state auditors and state legislators. And so these auditors have been checking on this stuff. And I guess we're happy that the auditors are telling us what's going on. But some of the factoids that came out yesterday, a protective wall between the track and the freight rail. Met Council estimated it would cost $36 million. Chief contractor said it could be $82 million. The Met Council meets and says, oh, man, are the contractors doing this right? Is this fair? Are they ripping us off? And they not only approved the request, they gave the contractors $83 million. They gave them more money. Ballooning costs, lack of accountability, it's time for the Met Council to go. And it's an issue that both Democrats and Republicans, they don't necessarily agree that it needs to go, but they do agree that it needs to change. State Senator Scott Dibble is from Minneapolis. He is a Democrat. He has been one of the most outspoken people about a need to reform the Met Council. And with this latest announcement and this latest hearing, Scott Dibble joins us in the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Is it time? Is it time to wipe out the Met Council? What do we do when the reality is your accountability? Your issue is largely about lack of accountability, right?
There's kind of no one to call to say, hey, I need you to kind of show up on this and represent my interests.
Is it time to just abolish the Met Council and get rid of it?
Well, I actually very strongly believe in regional government because it provides the kind of coordination for these major systems that serve our region as a whole that would otherwise need to be provided individually from municipality to municipality and county to county, which would be much, much more expensive, less efficient, et cetera. I think
I'm with you. I mean, the theory of regional government, I think, makes nothing but sense. But here we are, right? I mean, the practice of it has not, has not, in my view, been successful here.
So, one idea is to not abolish it, but to change its structure in a way that it becomes a function of a regional joint powers arrangement. So all the local units of government band together and create a joint powers entity that they're all kind of a party to. That's the cities and the counties. But the other idea, of course, is to make it elected. I think that's the most simple and elegant solution. Frankly, they manage and own and deliver services of such a magnitude that it's probably an unconstitutional delegation of powers by the elected officials in this state that they, because there is no, they keep in mind, they have the power to levy taxes and they have the power to appropriate federal taxes with no elected officials making those decisions and sitting in the driver's seat. So, it shouldn't function this way, both from a kind of a legal and, perspective of principle of representative democracy. And it shouldn't function this way from the kind of services that we've come to expect. When someone doesn't pick up our garbage, we call our council member.
Yeah.
When something's not working right at the county level, we call our commissioner. There's no one to call at the Met Council. We need it to be elected. That's the bottom line. People need to demand that.
Yeah. Because we had a commission, right? Like trying to figure this out at the legislature, and we couldn't really, no giant surprises, divided as we are. And this issue, I think, unifies Republicans and Democrats. But then there are questions of how do you divide it? But why hasn't this gone beyond just sort of the conversation phase? Well,
that task force met last year, and the people at the table, by and large, are invested in the status quo. They were system beneficiaries. They weren't there to really seek change. They were there to protect what was already there. So we just did not have the right people at the table. That was really a lost opportunity. And I think it's a pity. I just think regular citizens need to call their legislators and say, hey, we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars at the regional level on major systems that touch and affect my daily life, the operation of transit and housing policy and parks and sewers. And no one's sitting at that governing table. The Met Council members themselves are appointed, and they really, they never, set the tone and the direction, leadership. They never contradict the recommendation and the advice of the bureaucracy.
I mean, it was sort of astonishing and I guess not astonishing knowing what we know over the years, but this report that kind of went through and analyzed some of the spending of the Southwest LRT 10 different times where the contractors came back with a revised cost estimate and the council just signed off on it.
Well, we do what we can. That's why we have this series of audits to take a look and to shine a light into what exactly is going on. So I'm grateful that we have the Office of the Legislative Auditor. so that we can enact some laws to try to make some improvements around the margins. So last year I was able to pass a bill that says that the Department of Transportation for future projects is going to sit there and help the Met Council draft the right contract, make sure that the bid is complete and thorough, that the financing mechanisms are such that there's mechanisms for enforcement of cost and schedule, that risk is appropriately managed, and that, when the contractor has not performed, that's the risk that they take on, and they're not rewarded for mismanaging costs, mismanaging schedule, mismanaging quality of materials, and that sort of thing. So we were successful there. It doesn't substitute for having an elected body, but it's something.
Yeah.
The Department of Transportation has a more direct line of accountability to elected officials like myself and the governor. So short of elections, we're trying to institute policies and practices that provide that kind of oversight and accountability and better and best practices.
Scott Dibble is with us, DFL senator, state senator from Minneapolis. At this Legislative Audit Commission hearing, the latest review, what was the biggest thing that stood out to you? Was there one thing where you're like, my gosh, like this was even beyond what I expected?
Well, the big ticket items, we kind of already knew about, that they came in like 5 times over the original estimates. That was disappointing, but not surprising, because these large elements that they knew about ahead of time were just kind of swept into the contract without the benefit of a competitive bidding process. But probably, the one that got picked up on was how, with the remediation of the contaminated soils, that a kind of a blank piece of paper, which was supposed to, the manifests, of these truckloads that were then being taken to the landfill, were just given to the contractor, to the hauler, blank at the beginning of the day, and then they just filled them out. So basically, on their own attestation, their own recognizance, they were able to, fill out all these slips of paper saying that they had hauled X amount of dirt, so many loads, to such a distance, and there was no way to verify or validate that any of that had actually happened.
Is the equivalence of a blank check that was given out?
If almost exactly a blank check. It was a blank piece of paper with the signature of the public owner, the Met Council, at the bottom, given to the contractor, then turned those things in for money.
Wild. Well, I hope the conversation continues. I hope voters demand change here, and having a elected Met Council would be, at least we'd have some recourse if we didn't like how things were going. It would be a step forward, I think. Dissolving it, I'm not opposed, actually, and starting, I would, like you said, I would want something else to step in, because we do need regional sewer. We do need, some of these things need to be regional thoughts, but the way it's going is just not acceptable.
I mean, the sewer system is a huge success story. I mean, it didn't start under the Met Council, it started under the Sewer Authority, but it was wrapped into the Met Council some years later. But we pay the lowest sewer rates of any metropolitan area of our size in the entire country. Very, very successful.
Yeah.
And so we need more of that.
More of that, indeed. Scott Dibble, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Jason DeRusha and DriveTime needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's Jason here for Livia Weight Control Centers. It is the time of year where the weather is turning towards spring. We're thinking about summer. You could lose up to 20 pounds or more in your first 8 weeks. That was the success I had when I joined Livia 2.5 years ago. Get involved in changing your life. Livia's award-winning program personalizes the nutrition plan. They personalize the medical weight loss options as well. They've got Lipo B12. They've got NAD+. They've got all of the options, but it's that team to hold you accountable, to cheer you on, and to help you keep that weight off. Join Livia today. You're getting 8 weeks free. 8 weeks of their nutrition program. That is free. They've got the best prices on GLP-1 weight loss medications as well. Let's accelerate your results. Let's get the summer bod that you want. More importantly, you're going to feel healthy. You're going to feel better. You're going to be there for your family. That's what motivated me. Livea Weight Control Centers. They have one near you. Go to Livea.com, Livea.com. 8 weeks of that nutrition program free at 855-GO-LIVEA.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Looking for a dependable job with a great work-life balance? Join the team at Jefferson Lines. We're hiring professional CDL drivers to become part of our team of motor coach operators. Enjoy competitive pay, full health benefits, retirement benefits, travel perks, and more. We're already your #1 bus experience. Let us be your #1 work experience too. Visit jeffersonlines.com/careers and take the first step towards your future with Jefferson Lines today.
Is your basement damp, musty, or worse, flooding when it rains? Don't wait until the damage gets worse. Denny Long here from my good friends at Safe Basements. Safe Basements will stop water in its tracks with proven waterproofing solutions that keep your basement dry, guaranteed. Say goodbye to mold, mildew, and costly repairs. Go to safebasements.com today for a free inspection. That's safebasements.com, because a dry basement means a healthy home.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
You're listening to Drive Time with DERUSHA. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, the stock market is not too happy with the breaking news this afternoon that China is going to be socked with tariffs that will be at least 104%. That will happen starting tomorrow. As Chad has mentioned a little bit, looking at the Wall Street response, Dow Jones down 320 points, so down about 1%. NASDAQ down 335 points, S&P down 80. We'll see what happens if those tariffs are up. And this is on top. So basically, tariffs were going to be up 34%. Then the president added another 50%. So it was 20%. Now it'll be 104. So doubling the cost with the tariff. If you're not going to make your money on Wall Street, at least you could win some free Twins tickets, right? That is our economy gift to you. Twins Ticket Tuesday. When you hear the sound effect, we have like we're gonna win. When you hear this, not now. Caller number 3 gets a 4-pack of tickets for next Tuesday's game, April 15th against the Mets. Juan Soto and the Mets in town for a 3-game series. Interleague fun. Get your tickets at twins.com/tickets. or you can win them listening to the show today. Minnesota's governor is apparently he has unlimited PTO, right? Like a lot of us, if you want to spend 3 days in beautiful Ohio, you gotta talk to the boss. You're like, I'm going to Ohio. Oh, go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Maybe go to catch a ball game? No, I'm going to try to be the top story here in Youngstown, Ohio.
Wow. That was the reaction of Minnesota Governor and former vice presidential candidate Tim Walz to the size of the crowd at his town hall meeting.
If you say you love freedom and you want to restrict that and restrict certain groups, what you don't love freedom. What you love is privilege, and that's a different thing.
Tim Walz is, if you're putting your Tim Walz predictor, by the way, great report by Stan Boney at WKBN in Youngstown. Like 1 to 10. 1 meaning not going to happen. 10 meaning for sure he's running for governor of Minnesota again. I'm at about 2. I don't think there's a chance. Dan, do you think? I mean, it's one thing like to go to Wisconsin over the weekend to do your rally. Like, we get it. You're playing the bit. But if you look at his social media account, it's like these polished campaign style videos. Like, he is out, whether he runs for some national office or takes a media job or becomes the head of a think tank. I don't know. But like, he loves to be in front of the crowd.
I think he's clearly trying to set himself up for a national run at some point. And it's obviously not going to be for senator in Minnesota. So the only kind of other national place that makes sense would be president in 28. And the question then becomes, is he better served by continuing to be Minnesota's governor to make that run? In which case I would think he would want to run again. Or is he better off just trying to keep doing the world tour here and do the town halls and keep his name in the press that way?
I mean, the Democrats in these communities seem to dig it, right? Like,
Coach.
They
love Coach.
And do you think they love Walz, or do they just love that someone appears to be trying to at least fight back against the Trump administration?
I mean, yes.
Yeah, it's a little.
I think it's a little of both. Yeah,
it's a little. I'm at about a 2 or 3. I just don't think that he's going to run. And if he is going to run, would some Democrat please run against him? Because I'm sorry, like, you ran for vice president, you didn't win. We have our own issues here at the state. It's just a bad look to be on the road for 3 days in Ohio on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The legislature is in session. There are going to be tough decisions that they have to make. And are you, like, I get it, we can work remotely, blah, blah, blah. But like, you just upset a big portion of your own base by asking the workforce, God forbid they come back to work 2.5 days a week. But the way people are freaking out, like, you've upset that part of your work, of your base. And for a lot of moderates like me, it's like, well, what's the point of having you here if you don't need to be around?
I don't disagree with you, but I think,
like, go to some local restaurant or something. Go support. Go out to Jaime's Haberdashery. Draw some attention to our own state.
The political reality is no serious Democrat would line up against him if he announced he was running for governor again. But the door would be wide open, and I mean wide open, if the Republicans in this state could finally get their heads on straight, and nominate somebody to run against him that actually had a chance of beating him, because he'd be enormously vulnerable.
What has better odds? The Republicans nominating an actual good candidate for governor, or Tim Walz running for governor again? I don't know.
Oh, I mean, Tim Walz running for governor again is much higher.
Much more like, I don't know. I am curious if this new Republican Party chair will be more interested in winning than in appeasing the craziest of that base.
I don't know. And
No,
I'm not sure.
and it's
I don't
hard.
know, and I'm not sure if he has the power to determine that for the party nominating process.
It's maybe
as it is.
structurally impossible. The Democrats have the same problem.
Yes, they do. And
This
that's
is
gonna be
not
something
unique.
We'll talk about a little bit later, but yeah.
Not unique to one party or the other. But I'll just say, like, I don't like it. I don't like it. If you're the governor of this state, you're not the Democratic cheerleader of the country. I think it's weird. Let's talk about the Final Four. Did you watch the championship last night, or did you watch the women's championship? I have a couple of thoughts about both of these games. I thought it was boring. Sort of made me wish that Duke were in the championship, didn't it? 651-461-92. I don't want to watch Duke. You know I have a beef with Duke.
Big beef.
651-461-9226 if you want to talk about the national championship, which I thought was dull. We'll do that when we come back.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right. Tomorrow, after the show, I am headed over to the Galleria in Edina to see my friends at J.H. and Sons. It's Jason here. So glad to be telling the story of J.H. and Sons. Two things going on there for me that I think you would be interested in. One, the reason I go in tomorrow is because Sam, high school senior, is getting fitted for a suit. Prom is coming. Graduation is coming. He's going off to college. Want him looking good for job interviews and that sort of stuff. And so there's something special about that moment where you get that first suit. And J.H. and Sons, look, they have the top of the line stuff, but they also have entry level to make that first suit buying experience meaningful. Great tailoring as well to make your kid look amazing. So the other factor is that the weather is warming up, I promise, and linen is in. If you don't have a linen shirt or a pair of linen pants and you're a guy who wants to look good, get to J.H. and Sons. Go see my friend Kevin. Go see Dean. Go see Bryce. They have the best service. The selection of linen, they're calling it the linen shop. They got all these shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve. It's for sure going to be a part of my wardrobe this summer. And go visit the best, J.H. and Sons. They got a website. You can look at the spring styles at jhandsons.com.
The Twins may not be able to win the division in April, but a good start would help.
Swung on and hit. Hit deep. Hit far. And it's gone.
April wins count just as much as the ones in September, and the race for the postseason starts now.
Byron Buxton gonna look up and out of here. Ties it up 1-1.
The clock's already ticking. Catch every pitch, every hit, every exciting moment here.
The pitch swung on and missed, and Griffin Jack strikes out the side.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
You doing some spring cleaning? It's Jason here for Window Nation. Let's spruce up around your house, especially during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on right now. There is no limit to how much you could save, and if you buy a house full of windows, they're throwing in a free entry door, too. Plus, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027. You gotta hurry, though. The sale ends soon. Don't wait. They'll bring the showroom to your house at 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com.
Losing a loved one is hard enough before you have to start worrying about what to do with their things. If you inherit their home and need to sell it, the only call I would make would be to my friend, the Good Neighbor agent, John Schuster, with the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Hey, it's Vanita. Melissa was in this situation. She worked with the Schuster Group to sell a home she inherited. She didn't know what to expect. She was overwhelmed. John's known for selling homes quickly and for the most money possible. He was able to get her multiple offers in less than 5 days. Her home sold for more than $25,000 over the asking price. Melissa had a sale stress-free. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000 or online at johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
I'm Karen Heitz with Baird Private Wealth Management. At Baird, investing and financial planning are just part of the solution. Just as important is our personal commitment to your success. Meeting with you, answering your questions, working with your tax and legal advisors so you can see your complete financial picture come together. Focused on you, no matter what. That's how Baird's been doing business for more than 100 years. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Cleared out of the way, West 94 Creedon Avenue, but traffic remains tight past the scene there, heading out into downtown Minneapolis. East 94 slowing as you make way past the Laurie Hill Tunnel, heading out toward Franklin Avenue before the speeds gradually pick up. If you're traveling across the east side, slowdowns there. Now between Victoria and up to Wheelock Parkway. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn McCreevy Funeral Chapels and Cremation Services has been providing compassionate and personalized service for over 160 years. Honor your loved one and ensure your own wishes are met. Call 612-377-2203 or visit washburnmccreevy.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather's brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Quiet tonight as the clouds increase, only falling back to 36. There will be a chance of some very isolated showers tomorrow, and that'll linger into the first half of the day on Thursday. Most of the time, we should be dry. 56 tomorrow, 50 on Thursday. We could hit 60 Friday, and likely heading for a high near 70 by Sunday.
Right now, it is sunny looking out the weather window here in downtown Minneapolis. 48 degrees on CCO.
Jason DeRusha.
He is a national treasure. Like, we need that guy in our life.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
It is a basketball party like no other. There's nothing like it for me. Rivals only Christmas. Never gets old. This place is rocking. This is why we do this every March. Madness is upon us. Rivals only Christmas. Never gets old. This place is rocking. This is why we do this every March. Madness is upon us.
I mean, that is so great, right? That the song is great. The emotion is great. Come on. Why were the games so bad? NCAA championship last night. Late rally. Florida comes from behind. If you just read the story about it today, you'd be like, wow. Man, like what? Florida was down at the worst, down 13. It's one of the biggest comebacks in NCAA championship. And I'm sitting there watching this thing last night, and I'm like, is this what watching two number one seeds is supposed to feel like? Because it felt like the gap between college basketball and the pros is so large that it was, even though all these guys are getting paid, it felt like amateur hour. It was just, now, yeah, I like defense. Dan, you like defense, don't you? I don't know. We're fine on defense. Where are you on defense?
Well, I mean, I'm a baseball guy, right? So my immediate thought goes to I'd rather see a 1-0 pitchers duel than a 12-10 softball game.
Yes. But that is a straight up nightmare in basketball.
Yes.
There were, Houston took 69 shots. and lost 65-63.
Oof.
65-63. Has anyone been to a 7th grade basketball game lately?
That's what it looked like on that last play.
Oh,
I kept seeing stuff, like I didn't watch it, but I kept seeing stuff pop up on social media. You know, what a wild finish. Oh, crazy. You have to see that. And then I watched it and I'm just like, oh my God, that's awful. That's so bad. I mean, you feel bad for the kids in the moment.
yes.
And then you're thinking,
Oh, they're going
can
to.
you imagine what some of those people paid for, courtside seats? And this is what they saw? Oh,
I mean, look, if you're Houston, you are, and if you didn't see this game, I will say congrats. Like you win. It is interesting, like if our expectations have changed because the kids are getting paid. So I'll tell you, like, I don't think I would have complained about this in the pre-NIL era, where you would watch a game and you'd be like, yeah, kids, college kids, they're melting under the pressure. They were, because the first 5 minutes of the game was Clank City. Like every shot would go up and it was like you would just hear you'd hear the sound of like clank, clank. I can't really, I need a better, where's my Foley operator in here? There used to be sound effects in this play. But you get the idea. Like it was just everyone off the ring clank.
lots of bricks
Clank.
being laid.
Now, yeah, I think I would have been more forgiving.
It's interesting because we've been sort of conditioned for this, right? Because it's been so long now that kids that are truly the transcendent basketball players don't spend 4 years playing for a college institution anymore. At most, it's the Cooper Flags playing for a year, and you go, "Oh wow, he's amazing! I can't wait to see him play against actual competition in the NBA next year." So we've been expecting lesser play, but it's a really interesting point that you're making. Should our expectations actually be raised by the fact that even though it's lesser players, they're getting paid now?
651-461-9226. A texter points out the game was somewhat exciting because it was close back and forth, which is true. There is a difference between an exciting game and a good game. And the texter says it was somewhat exciting, but it was a bad game. It was a bad game. The defense from Houston was good. If Houston would hit any of their shots, like that would have been, it would have been lights out. Like they were struggling shooting. The other part of this, and you raise the point, Dan, where you watch these games and you get excited about a certain player, there is something about the crop of players this year of the elite teams where for the women, you had Paige Beckers, who was sort of the star.
Yeah.
If you're not going to do the underdog bit and I don't care about the underdog bit, I think it's sort of overplayed, but if you're not going to do the underdog bit, you sort of want the studs to be the stud.
Well, and I sort of thought, given the women's semifinals games were both just blowouts, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, the semifinal game stunk, but South Carolina has been a great program for how long now?
Yes.
And so they blew out their semifinal opponent. Paige and UConn blew out their semifinal opponent. Boy, this national championship
should be a great
game
one.
should be a great one. And no, UConn just blew their doors off. I mean, that game was never close. And so, yeah, I mean, what do sometimes it just doesn't work, right? In terms of competition level, sometimes you're going to have blowouts. It's just weird that you had two, both the men's and the females Final Fours this year being duds. I mean, if Paige hadn't been a part of UConn, does anybody in Minnesota care about that women's Final Four?
Well,
I mean, or is anybody entertained by it? We all love that Paige finally got her natty and got that confirmation of what we already knew about her.
I mean, the quality of play in the women's game and the college game is certainly, I think more people have fallen in love with that style of play because you've been able to see it. People are watching the WNBA more. You understand the rhythm of that.
Absolutely. And 10 minutes into that women's championship game, you turn it off, right?
80-59, and it wasn't even that.
No. I mean, I had the game on, and I was looking at something else, and I turned around, and UConn's up by 10. Just that quick, and it never really got less than that.
Major difference between the NBA and the NCAA, says the texter, is officiating. NCAA allows much more contact on defense which drives down the score. It's a foul of the NBA if you make any contact. Well, it's a foul if you contact their precious little protected angels, right?
I mean, yeah, you can talk to some of the guys in the NBA that will dispute that.
Yeah.
Is there a difference in level of officiating? Absolutely. I don't know if that's the singular
That's
major
interesting.
difference.
It's an interesting argument. I don't.
The officiating's even worse in the women's game, by the way.
I thought the officiating last night was actually pretty good. And,
not much to officiate when nobody's hitting a shot.
Yeah. It was physical, though. Maybe that's what I didn't love about last night's game. And it is, honestly, it's part of what I don't love. It's such a silly complaint. But because athletes have gotten so strong, the NBA is really like it's like a brawl fest. It's like everybody's putting body on everybody else. And so the officials, you can argue about officiating, but most of the time you're like, I don't know, man, you could call every single thing. Like there's a foul all the time. And not that I like to see players drive in the paint. I like slam dunks. I like layups. I like pounding the paint. It's exciting to me. 3-point shots are cool, but when you get in a shooting match, for me, it's not as exciting as like a balanced game.
Yeah.
But these players are so athletic. And what we saw in the NCAA championship for the men was that sort of brawl fact. Texter says listening to us talk about the game last night is almost as bad as watching the game. You know what? That's totally fair. That's fair. We're done. Hit the break. Sorry.
Jason DeRusha returns shortly with more of Drive Time on News Talk 830 WCCO.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Really, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. Guaranteed. If your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Major slowdowns up on 694 both directions as you make way between Lexington and 250-210 westbound. Watching slowdowns there as you move away from Egret, heading up to Round Lake Boulevard. If you'd be traveling down on the south side of the metro, westbound 494 plugged up 12th Avenue, heading out toward France Avenue, eastbound 494 slow as well as you come in from the Bush Lake roads to Cedar Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Spring is here. The birds are singing and temps are rising. Whether it's an AC tune-up or you need system repairs, take care of your air conditioner before the summer heat arrives. Be worry-free with your AC and visit AquariusHomeservices.com today.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather is brought to you by Aquarius Home Services, and it is sunny outside right now. But tomorrow, it's going to be a little warmer. High of 56. Thursday, we're looking the whole rest of the week. We're right on average, right in the 50s. This weekend, it really gets cooking, though. We'll be in the 60s over the weekend. Right now in downtown Minneapolis, 47 on CC.
This is Drive Time with DERUSHA.
I think this is just all a bunch of hullabaloo and a waste of time.
You're not wrong.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
.352. Minneapolis Club is, well, the last time I went to a Timberwolves game, that's where I was hanging out at the bar at the Minneapolis Club. Lots going on there this month in April. I think a lot of our listeners maybe don't know. And I brought some friends to dinner at the Minneapolis Club last week, and they didn't know that anybody can go have dinner at the Minneapolis Club. So, like, there's a restaurant in there called Charlie's. New chef, new food, new stuff, great bar. So, check it out. I'm thinking since Sam is no longer interested in seeing us, maybe tonight, Alyssa and I at the Minneapolis Club. Dan, you have an update on the NCAA.
Yeah, thanks to Lindsey Peterson and the office just shot over this graphic created by the NCAA. So, keep that in mind. But it says that the national championship game delivered 18.1 million viewers to cap off the most watched Final Four weekend since 2017. So, as much of a dud as that game was, people were locked in.
Yeah. The semis were good.
Yep.
I think gambling, don't you think gambling is what drives this?
I think that's a huge part of what
and
drives this. Yeah.
Having 4 number ones, the other part of it is, as much as the media romanticizes the underdogs, I think people like seeing the good teams. And
well, good in this case, maybe being a relative term, but
yeah, I think these are 2 good teams. It's just the way they matched up was unpleasant to watch, unexciting. Scientists are announcing today that they have brought back. They have what are they calling this? It's a ridiculous term.
It is a ridiculous term. I forget.
We're talking about dire wolves.
Talking about
it's been like the dire wolves. It's like the headline of Time. It's been in like every newspaper. They have de-extincted them. Why are we de-extincting dire wolves?
That's an excellent question. I did see
these are genetically engineered pups.
Well, that's just it. I mean, it's not like we've gone and found direwolf DNA and then used that to clone direwolves. We've used the direwolf DNA to figure out the gene sequence and then taken gray wolf DNA and modified it so that it's more dire wolf like.
So it's not really a dire wolf. It's just a wolf. It's a new wolf.
It's a new wolf. Yes. And the idea is supposedly, the explainer that I saw on it is that as predators go extinct across the world, it affects entire ecosystems. And so this could be a way to introduce these new species of animals into spots where other predators have either gone extinct or are going, extinct. as a way of managing the ecosystem and keeping the ecosystem balanced.
Rich people have too much money.
That could be it too. I mean, this is the plot to Jurassic Park. I mean, let's just be honest, right?
It's at a certain point, and this is like a tech entrepreneur and a Harvard geneticist who founded this, whatever this company is, Colossal. What ego, right?
I mean, they're talking about bringing back woolly mammoths of all things, so look out.
Sometimes nature just does its thing, right?
I think more than sometimes.
I don't know. Like, if you could bring anything back, what would you want to bring back?
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, but let's bring back, I agree. Bring back the dinosaurs. That at least would be bitching. You know what I mean?
Exactly, right?
Like bringing back a dire
It would go
wolf.
horribly, horribly wrong, but be fun for a minute.
Yeah. It is. It also is strange. Like, I don't know. Some of this is just like the ramblings of a dumb guy talking. But like, as a human, we only...
It'll be a liner in about 5 minutes.
We don't like... You don't try to cross like a guy with a fish. You know what I mean? There's something about like the way that geneticists are sort of messing with animals.
Well, we joke about the Jurassic Park reference, but I mean, that was the theme of that story, right? Is we're so enamored with the things that we can do, we don't often enough slow down to figure out whether it's a good idea that we do them or not.
Yeah. I would like to see T-Rex.
Not without question. I'd totally sign up for that.
What about like just like the dodo bird? Like, be funny,
I guess.
Harmless, probably not going to invade
Probably
the
not.
city.
I don't know. I saw a wild turkey crossing 2nd Avenue again the other day. I mean, who knows?
We got a dodo bird on this station from noon
Hey-o.
to 3 every day. All right, it's Twins Ticket Tuesday. We had the Twins on the air tonight at 6. Last night, remember all that talk about the Twins, about starting the season?
Oof.
How dumb does like our little commercial for the Twins sound? Like how important those April games are. We meant well. You know what? April games don't matter that much. Don't worry about it. We're going to have a new commercial on tomorrow. 4 o'clock. The St. Paul Saints want taxpayer dollars for a Ferris wheel. News I'm not making up when we come back.
Advent is now open in Eden Prairie. Find out more at adventknows.com.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
I was at Serdik's Cheese Shop a little bit earlier today, and the selection they have is unbelievable. It's Jason here for our friends at Serdik. You know, you think about the liquor store. The liquor store is amazing. Like right now, as the weather changes, a lot of, I don't know about you, but like I'm drinking more white wine. I'm drinking rosé already. Rosés are starting to show up, or maybe chillable reds. Lots of options in the store. If you're just looking for something new, you can talk to one of the great people who work at Serdik's and ask and say, like, look, here's my budget. Like, can you help me out? Now, right now, because of all that's going on all over the world, a lot of people are looking for maybe more made in America options. And my goodness, in the wine industry, you've got options. And beer, holy moly, our Minnesota craft beer. Think about supporting your community, and you can do that at Serdik's. It has been around for 4 generations. 91 years at University in Hennepin with so much free parking. You can shop online. They'll deliver to your home as well. Just go to Serdix.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545.
Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Up-to-date news, in-depth discussion on what it all means. News Talk 830 WCCO and 102.9 KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming now on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. There was more reason today for Wall Street investors to worry. Canada's retaliatory tariffs on U.S. auto imports, President Trump's new tariffs on China. The Dow surged, then flattened, down 320 points, despite some good news. President Trump says he's talking to as many countries as he can.
Talks with many countries, over 70. They all want to come in. Our problem is can't see that many that fast.
CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
The big intraday swings really say more about how investors are desperate to see some progress on tariff negotiations. Amid early reports that the administration had begun conversations with South Korea and some other countries, there was investor enthusiasm to buy stocks again. By the end of the day, without any confirmation of progress, investors sold off their stocks and awaited the implementation of tariffs.
The Supreme Court today blocked an order for the Trump administration to return thousands of federal workers to their jobs. CBS News legal analyst Laurie Levinson.
The short order basically says that the parties who had challenged what Trump's administration had done did not have standing, were not the right parties to come to court.
A federal judge in California had ordered 16,000 probationary employees be reinstated. There's a huge cleanup ahead for Kentucky after torrential rains and now overflowing rivers. Nicole Valdez has the latest.
This street alone now has just a layer of mud caked on top of it as all of that water has slowly receded back into the swollen Kentucky River. Right now it sits at about 48 feet, but get this, flood stage here is just over 30 feet.
The governor's urging patience and asking people to stay out of those floodwaters. There was a tragedy in the Dominican Republic early this morning at a nightclub hosting a concert. 58 people died. Matt Piper reports.
The roof collapse happened at the Jet Set Club in Santo Domingo. Video posted to social media shows the roof quickly falling as merengue singer Ruby Perez was performing. His saxophonist is among those killed. Hundreds of rescue personnel combed through the ruins as trapped people cried out for help from the debris.
The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called Gaza a death trap today.
More than an entire month has passed without a drop of aid into Gaza. No food, no fuel, no medicine.
Israel has said it will not allow supplies to enter until Hamas releases all remaining hostages. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 48 degrees at 4:03. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. This hour's top story: a University of Minnesota grad student detained last month by federal immigration agents is now facing new federal charges.
28-year-old Dolgugan Günaydın, a Turkish citizen, appeared virtually before a federal judge for the first time since his March 27th arrest. During the hearing, prosecutors accused him of being a public safety and national security threat. A bond hearing is set for Friday where he could testify and the judge could rule on whether or not to release him. His attorneys argue the detainment is unlawful and that a past drunk driving case does not invalidate his visa. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Nearly 200 employees in the Robbinsdale School District are set to be laid off to make up for nearly a $21 million budget mistake. That number includes over 180 staff members and 150 teaching positions. Local Federation of Teachers President Peter Eckhoff talking with WCCO TV.
A lot of probationary teachers have lost their positions, and it's literally from early childhood all the way through our adult basic ed and K-12 in between.
The school board also announcing last night at a meeting that changes would also be coming to transportation and start times in some schools. They say the cuts so far total about $15 million. State and federal officials ramping up efforts to get people to apply for a real ID by May 7th.
You can start the application process online or go to any Minnesota licensing center around the state. You can even use the Driver and Vehicle Services Real ID kiosk inside MSP's Terminal 1 parking facility. Pong Jong is with DBS.
Fair warning, though, it's an application, and so you won't walk away with the real ID. But we do offer the service right here at this airport, and we're very proud to partner with the Airport Commission on that.
If you can't get the real ID by the May 7th deadline, you can use your passport to board a plane. Right now, 41% of all Minnesotans have received their real ID, which looks like a driver's license, only with a gold star in the upper right-hand corner. At Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, Al Shock, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And state lawmakers are highlighting the need for emergency funding for ambulance services in greater Minnesota. Advocates say 911 response time in rural communities have become dangerously slow due to outdated funding models and a decrease in staff. The Mayo Clinic's Michael Juntanen.
The consequences of underfunding and workforce shortages are real and have serious implications for Minnesotans. Services are being forced to cut shifts, lose staff, and in some cases shut down entirely.
Lawmakers are asking for $50 million a year in ongoing funding to help replenish staff and maintain current services. Coming up on 406 here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Things are slow for West 94 as move past Cretin into downtown Minneapolis. If you're traveling East 94, that's slow out of Laurie Hill Tunnel heading out to Highway 280. Up on the north side, 694 jammed up between Lexington and 252. 610 eastbound, watching slowdowns there Broadway to Highway 252. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And this weather forecast is brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
There's not much rain in the forecast. No snow. Don't panic. The chance of rain, though, will be tomorrow. Starting the day around 36, warming up to 56. The showers very isolated in nature. The threat of rain will linger into the first half of the day on Thursday as we hit a high of 50. The big headline is the warm-up. 60 on Friday. We could hit 70 on Sunday.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Sunny, 48. I'm Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Headlines that keep you informed. Conversations that pull you in. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie. Just DERUSHA. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DERUSHA.
St. Paul Saints want a Ferris wheel. I mean, honestly, in the context of the St. Paul Saints saying that they want a Ferris wheel, you're not surprised, are you? They would like taxpayers to pay for it, or at least part of it. A Saints executive, Tom Whaley, is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker hotline to talk. Well, there's more than just a Ferris wheel to this, but it is the most entertaining part of this, Tom, don't you think?
I do think that, yes. It's very entertaining, but there's a little more to it.
Well, you know, I mean, that you more than anyone understand the magic of, like, we're trying to sell radio ads here, you know what I mean? It's like trying to get clicks. This is the equivalent of radio clickbait. True or false?
That's very accurate. You know, the way we look at it is you got to have your broccoli once in a while.
That's
you know, so
Tom Whaley is the executive vice president for business affairs for the St. Paul Saints. The Saints are looking for some renovations and some changes to the property where CHS Field is. In what CHS Field is my absolute favorite ballpark, period. It is it's so cool. It's so cool, Tom.
We have had a blast there. We laugh at it, Derek and I. The last game of the season last year, we we were out sharing a beer to kind of end the season. We looked around. We're like, man, 10 years in, there's nothing that we'd change. It's a lot of fun, and it's just a really, really well-designed, well-built place.
Yeah.
Great.
And it's so nestled into downtown St. Paul and Lower Town, of course, but it just feels so good. The reality is, though, you've been there for 10 years. There maybe is some opportunity to try to, I don't know, there's some opportunity to draw people to Lower Town, which has been a major challenge. Downtown St. Paul does not feel real good right now, you know?
No question. I mean, it's had its challenges. It's still, you know, we're 5 years in, but it feels like we're still trying to come back from COVID. So, you know, we're always, we want to be good neighbors, good partners. And we just, you know, every day it's what can we do to, you know, make this whole thing go? We're a piece to the puzzle, but what can we do to help make it go?
So what's the story with the Ferris wheel?
Well, it started several years ago. Marv Goldklang, one of the owners at the time, said, you know, I want a Ferris wheel. And we all looked at him like he was nuts. And he never left. And a few years after that, we took a staff trip at the end of the season out to Las Vegas. And one of our organized happy hours was we went up in the high roller in Las Vegas, where they roll the beverage cart on there. And that thing's huge, just like 600 feet tall. They rolled the beverage cart on there, and we had happy hour, and we all kind of looked at each other. We're like, oh my God, this is Marv's Ferris wheel. If we could do a version of this at CHS, how cool would that be? So that was kind of the genesis of it. But yeah, that's where it started.
You know, today you're in a situation where, because you are now a AAA baseball team, there are Major League Baseball requirements for AAA. And you just don't meet it right now, correct?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it was really an awesome thing to be able to get AAA ball there, but you know, the other side of the coin is you got to, you know, stay up to date with the standards, and most of the standards have to do with player, you know, health and welfare and all those sorts of things. But the upshot is, you know, we're crammed in there pretty good. I mean, from when we started 10 years ago. The traveling team for the visitors and even the home team, it's about double the number of players and coaches and trainers and all that stuff that we were dealing with 10 years ago. So it's just long term, it's, you know, something that's going to work. And so we're just trying to look out a few years and anticipate where we're going to be.
Obviously, you know, this is a tough time to go to the state and ask for money. It always is when you're a sports or entertainment operation. But I do think, well, I wonder what sort of reception are you finding right now? Money is tight, but I think also the need, especially for downtown St. Paul, people sort of get it.
Yeah, and the reception's been really great. The interesting thing when you talk to legislators from all over the state, they love coming to St. Paul. Yeah. They love being in St. Paul. It's just it feels right to them, and they like it. But you're right. I mean, the issue we're dealing with right now is it's always comes down to funding, and obviously there are significant priorities that the state has, and we get that. But the great thing about Minnesota is it's always invested in things like what we're talking about. It values it and puts its money where its mouth is in terms of recreation, whether that's, you know, the outdoors, going to watch a ball game, going to a theater, the state museum. You know, the state's always invested in that. And so, you know, we feel good about our ask, but we're, you know, mindful of the landscape right now.
Tom Whaley is with the St. Paul Saints. We're talking about the Saints' idea to bring in a Ferris wheel and then also renovate some of the clubhouse facilities and part of their CHS field. So what does a Ferris wheel cost these days? Like, the only one I know in the Twin Cities is the one over at the Old Betty Dangers, which is going to become a Big Star Tipsy Taco Bar. I think that opens up in a month. But, like, I mean, do you buy a used one, or like, do we do this, you know, I mean, are we trying to do this first class here?
Well, we would rather do new if we can. So that's the way we're looking. I think we want to, if you're going to go, you got to go, you know?
Right. Minpost did a story on this. They said the wheel would cost about $9 million. Is the idea that, I mean, honestly, I was thinking about this and thinking about your site down there, and like a Ferris wheel for a year-round sort of attraction would be kind of cool, you know?
Yeah, it's always, we're trying to figure out what can we do to leverage the space, and we don't have a lot of sort of, I don't know, like on the ground space to deal with. But the good thing about a Ferris wheel is it doesn't take a lot on the ground level. It takes a lot up in the air, and so it's going to fit. We did a fit study a little over a year ago, and it all works out. But yeah, we think it'd be a great addition. It'd be year round. We would operate it during games, but the bulk of the use would be, outside of games, and it's all about bringing folks to St. Paul and downtown St. Paul specifically.
Now, I do remember back in the old St. Paul Saints Stadium, before you guys moved to CHS Field, that there was a bit where certain people would be attached in a Velcro suit to a scoreboard. I don't know if you remember my game. I lasted through 5 innings.
Oh.
Yeah. And then came down. And I only came down because the St. Paul Saints had gone through 5 pitchers by that point. And I was like, you know what? If these guys can't, I do not need to outlast 5 pitchers. I'm getting down.
No, you don't.
But
no, people really wanted to go up there. I looked at that and I'm like, that has got to be horrible because the sun would be right in your eyes. Yeah. You had to stay up there. I think you got 1 bathroom break or something. I don't remember, but it was, I don't know. I looked at it and I'm like, why are we doing this to people?
But I can see how like the Ferris wheel could be incorporated into some of the fun. This could be a promotion. A texter is saying, bring the hot tub back instead. Like, I get that too. You are AAA, like you have to sort of class it up a bit, but there is sort of a precedent in the minors embracing the spirit of some of the stuff that you guys have been doing for years and years and years.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun, and we're really, really lucky to operate in the community we do. The folks in the Twin Cities, get our bit.
Yeah.
And it's just been an awesome relationship over. I think we're 33 years in now, so great.
All right. Well, how much are you asking for in all? What's the total ask for the project, for what you guys want to do? Is there a number?
The request at the state level right now is $8 million. And the remainder of the project would be the city of St. Paul and the Saints going in on the rest. But hopefully similar to the partnership we've had with the state and city since the beginning. And that's sort of how we're modeling things and just saying it's worked out really well over 10 years. And, this is something we feel that would be good for the ballpark. The players' things are needed. And let's, keep the partnership in place. Nice. and keep going.
All right, the Saints are home at CHS Field from a bunch of games from the 8th through the 13th, right? So you got a game tonight. Yeah. Good luck getting to St. Paul with the construction on I-94.
Oh, boy.
So I would recommend, if you're coming from the west side of town, you might want to just book a hotel room in St. Paul and just stay there for the next couple of days. Tom Whaley you're not getting into that, are you? You're trying to get state money.
No.
You can't be ripping on MnDOT right now.
No, we love MnDOT.
Correct. Yes, of course. Tom, thank you. Appreciate it. Tom Whaley.
Thanks, Jason. Okay.
With the St. Paul Saints. Let's make Lower Town fun. Let's get a Ferris wheel. You telling me we can't find $8 million for the Saints to put a dang Ferris wheel up? Let's go. 4:18. We'll break. When we come back, we talk a little bit about the legislature. We used to be clean government. That was our reputation. What happened? We'll talk about that next.
Drive Time with DERUSHA is back after this on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Do you have someone helping you out with your lawn care right now? It's Jason DeRusha. I used to try to do it myself, fertilizing, weed control, etc. Man, what a difference when I reached out to Pro Turf to do the job for me. Unbelievable service, unbelievable results. Pro Turf has been based right here in Minnesota since the 80s. The techs are already out there doing spring lawn estimates. And what I love is that Pro Turf will come to your house, So for me, when I reached out to ProTurf, you can do it on the website, professionalturf.com, or call 952-469-8680. Someone comes to your house, physically comes to your house and measure your lawn. They look at your problem areas, and then they design a solution. Some granule products, some liquid products. Most people do one-size-fits-all solution for every house, they just look at the Google Maps and they're done. How about irrigation? Are you just starting up your own irrigation system? Get a ProTurf tech out to take a look, because they will make sure that you don't have a break or a leak, or you're wasting water, wasting money. Professional service makes such a difference, and you can catch problems before they blow up and you got to redo your whole system. Professionalturf.com. They do landscape design as well. You want to see some beauties? Go to professionalturf.com to see their work, or make the call 952-469-8680.
A dry winter can cause cracked, itchy skin and sore throats. Getting a whole home humidifier from Metro Heating and Cooling can help you get in the comfort zone on price and performance. Visit metroheating.com.
Metro Heating and Cooling.
Is your AC ready for summer? Don't wait for the heat to hit. Weak airflow, warm air, strange noises. These are warning signs your AC needs attention. Our skilled technicians offer AC repair services or replacements to keep your family cool all summer long. Don't sweat it. 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning has your back. Here to keep your home cool all summer. Visit onehour.com to schedule today. Financing options available.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, we have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-931-3030. So if you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, call now. Find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-931-3030 to speak with a live person now.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
99% of realtors recommend a home inspection, and with Win Home Inspection, you're guaranteed the best when you hire the handsome bald guy. Steve Stalock with Win Home Inspection delivers a comprehensive report within 24 hours of your inspection that analyzes your home from the roof to the foundation and all major systems. Win, we see more clearly. To schedule an inspection in your area, call Steve at 952-891-4455 or go to wini.com. That's WINI.com.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code FAST. Swishradio.com, code FAST.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
It's awful, huh?
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Build monthly.
This is Drive Time with DERUSHA.
Let's go through the list. What do you think of Jason?
Absolutely no.
Oh, wow. Kathleen, thank you very much.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
You like it when I wear my hair down.
As a guy who grew up in Chicago, I thought that Illinois was the capital of corrupt politicians. For a long time, I talked about Minnesota as a reporter for many, many years as being a home of relatively clean government. Sure, there always were going to be a couple of people in there. You get one, you get somebody, you got questions. It's power. Power by its nature can be seductive, right? And so are all politicians crooked? No. Absolutely not. I think most are not. I will say that, again, today, another reminder, though, that we're not as clean as we thought we were. And, it feels to me like it's one day after the next where you learn about somebody else. And we can have these conversations without going down to like, well, they elected a felon president. Yeah. And that's what I'm sort of wondering, and I don't know if you guys have insight on this as to what changed. Or were we just in fantasy land? Were we never as clean? Were we never as clean as we thought we were? The news today was about the head of the ethics committee, Minnesota Senate president. So he was the chair of the Senate ethics subcommittee. And I don't know, like he stepped down from that role in the ethics subcommittee. Since they can't even decide if a senator who drove 3 hours from her home, dressed in all black, and broke into her stepmother's home in the dark of night, if that was ethically questionable. So I guess I'm not brimming with confidence that we're going to get any sort of definitive, non-political answer as to what Bobby Joe Champion is accused of doing violates any standards. He was the chief sponsor of a bill that awarded $3 million to an organization, 21 Days of Peace, which is run by Jerry McAfee, the Reverend Jerry McAfee. Now, Bobby Joe Champion is an attorney, and he did not disclose at the time that he previously represented the pastor in a bunch of different court cases. Last month, he introduced another bill to award another $1 million to 21 Days of Peace. He testified in favor of it. Jerry McAfee sitting next to him. And all of this would be fine if he would have just said, like, just so everybody knows, like, we have a friendship and we have a business relationship, and that I represented him pro bono in court cases. You fess up, you say it, then everybody can decide, like, oh, all right, you have a relationship, but like maybe you shouldn't be the one testifying in favor of this. Find somebody else. It just seems slimy. That's why we all get bugged when there is a conflict of interest, right? The hard thing about really judging conflicts of interest is that, I don't know, man, like 21 Days of Peace may be awesome. This organization may well deserve this money. They may well be awesome and better than somebody else in executing this contract. But now there's a cloud, there's a taint, there's a stink. And is that fair to the organization? I don't know. You got to disclose. We have a citizen-run legislature. Sort of, right? But we don't pay people enough for it to be a full-time job. The idea was to have a part-time legislature. The benefit of that is that people bring all of their knowledge and relationships and all of that to the job. The negative of that is that people bring all of their relationships to the job. You do have business entanglements. You do have you want this, right? This is the other thing about conflicts of interest. The line between a conflict of interest and like a really amazing, insightful connection, the line gets crossed when you're steering things of benefit to those people. That's when it gets crossed. It does just overall sort of leave me sad about it. It leaves me sad about the fact that that we used to not have to be so cynical about every elected official. And whether it's fair or unfair, the reality is when you have these situations, when you have clearly an ethical lapse by our state senator who broke into her stepmother's house, there could be a court process. But come on, like ethically, it's very obvious what that is. And by party lines, no one's willing to step out. Here, we have another scenario. Now, should Bobby Joe Champion step down from his office? We'll ask Blois Olson that in the lead in 30 minutes. I don't know. Stinks, though. There's a stench. There's a stink. And it goes from one politician and now, fairly or unfairly, I feel it towards all. Don't describe us as a clean government anymore. It's 4:29. We're going to break. When we come back, DeRusha Eats takes a look at this. Would you want to have dinner with one of the world's experts, one of the legendary names in wine or food? If you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be? A St. Paul restaurant is creating a dinner series where you can do that. It's a very unique way. We'll talk about it coming up in a minute here on Drive Time.
We need a quick pit stop. Then Jason DeRusha continues on News Talk 830 WCCO.
When is the last time you have seen a dermatologist? It's Jason DeRusha here for my dermatologist, Terrene Dermatology. And oh my goodness, what a month April is shaking up to be for Terrene as they welcome 2 new locations. Terrene Dermatology has 9 locations now. Lakeville, you're in. Lakeville, your nightmare of waiting 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get into a dermatologist is over. Lindstrom, your nightmare is over. 9 locations. You guys are joining the Terrene Dermatology family. And what does that mean? That means you can get an appointment guaranteed within 3 weeks. You do not have to wait. If you have a mark or mole that's changed shape that you're nervous about, call Terrene Dermatology or go online and book your appointment. You don't have to wait. If you have eczema or something that makes you uncomfortable or you don't like the way your skin looks or feels, you don't have to wait. And you're not just going to anyone. You're going to see Dr. Mohiba Terrene and her team. They are the best in the business. It's who I go to. I trust them. Absolutely. I bring my family there, and I want you to bring your family there. Terrene Dermatology is at TAREEN, TerreneDermatology.com.
It's Legislation Mania 2025. I'm Bob.
And I'm Biff. We're ready for the main event featuring the champion for nearly 250 years. It's Checks and Balances.
Yeah, but Biff, we've got a challenger no one's been able to stop. Introducing Executive Orders.
Leaping out of his corner right away, it's Executive Orders, and oh, that had to hurt. And oh my, Checks and Balances really taking a beating here.
The gloves are off, the mics are on, and you get to hear every takedown on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm Karen Heinz with Baird Private Wealth Management. For many of us, life is busy. Balancing family, career, friends, and community, plus finding the time and focus to keep your family's financial plan on track can be a challenge. At Baird, we understand. Our advisors partner with you to create a financial plan that's uniquely yours, one that gives you peace of mind and confidence so you can focus on what matters most. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
You'll feel better, you'll sleep better, and it's all coming to you for free. That's right. Jordana Green here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Mini Leaf products are free shipping all of April. That triple diamond pain cream is perfect for any pain you're having and maybe even any bug bites or a sunburn that you're having. Want to sleep better?
A little wine, so I did. Wow.
Definitely do it. Go to NELEA. I use these products. They really help me through my cancer recovery, help me get off my Ambien. Those sleep night gummies are a real charm. MINNELEAF.com. That's minileaf.com. Free shipping throughout the month of April. Tell them Jordana sent you when you go to minileaf.com. Free shipping all of April.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Looking for the best way to travel? Jefferson Lines is your top choice for comfort and convenience. With daily schedules to every corner of Minnesota and thousands of destinations across the country, we make getting there easy. Need transportation for an event? We also offer charter bus rentals. Enjoy free Wi-Fi and individual charging outlets on our luxury motor coaches, so you can stay connected while you ride in comfort. Proudly recognized as Minnesota's best transportation company of 2024. Travel with confidence and ease. Seats are filling up fast. Book now at jeffersonlines.com.
At Metro Heating and Cooling, we offer the highest quality products at comfort zone pricing. We won't try to sell you what you don't need. Metro Heating and Cooling and Plumbing. Honest, reliable, and affordable.
Metro Heating and Cooling.
MetroHeating.com.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Got some flashing lights off to the right side of South 45W near McAndrews. Traffic is slowing as a result as you come down from Highway 13. 494 westbound jammed up. Cedar heading out toward France Avenue. 35E watching slowdowns there both directions between Randolph and downtown Minneapolis. West 94 and St. Paul, that is. West 94, some slow as you make your way toward Minneapolis there as you come in from Cretin. And East 94 is plugged up between 55 and Riverside. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings back its most popular show of all time, Grease. It's a high-octane party that'll rock your socks off. Order today. Visit chanhassendt.com. Be there or be square.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, the weather is brought to you by our friends at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters, where you can see Grease on stage through October 4th. Here's Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Quiet tonight as the clouds increase, only falling back to 36. There will be a chance of some very isolated showers tomorrow, and that'll linger into the first half of the day on Thursday. Most of the time, we should be dry. 56 tomorrow, 50 on Thursday. We could hit 60 Friday, and likely heading for a high near 70 by Sunday.
Right now, it is sunny, and it is about average. 48 degrees in St. Paul here on CCO.
Drive Time with DERUSHA. Now video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
DERUSHA. He has the eats.
Nobody brings you the Twin Cities restaurant scene like our favorite foodie. Now, Jason explores some of the great chefs, owners, and stories right in our own backyard as Drive Time transitions into DERUSHA Eats.
And DERUSHA Eats is brought to you by Certix Liquor and Cheese Shop and the Minnesota Pork Board. Today, a dinner party with some of the biggest names in wine. I asked you guys if you could be with the biggest chef, the biggest winemaker, who would you want to be with? You could text in at 651-461-9226. But our next guest had this idea to bring these dinner parties to you with a flexibility that is sort of amazing. Hoyt Hill is the sommelier, the wine guy at Forepaugh, newly relaunched in downtown St. Paul. Hoyt, it's so good to see you.
Jason, it's always great spending time with you.
You are bringing the biggest names in wine, like big names in wine, to dinner with Minnesota people every night. How is this working?
Well, I had this idea that the old standard wine dinner, which involved a winemaker or winery owner or salesperson appearing in a restaurant one night where everybody, a group of people came and had dinner and enjoyed the wines with, dinner that was planned to complement the wines, was perhaps outdated, that there might be a better way to make it more user-friendly. So what we're doing is a series of dinners with important, famous winemakers, winery owners, And you can come any night because the winery owner or winemaker's presentation of the wines is recorded. It's important to point out it's recorded for us. It's not something boilerplate that I found on the internet and copied and pasted. It is a conversation between me and the winery owner or the winemaker about the wines that we taste that night with the dinner. And because we have the wine and we obviously have the food that we've chosen to pair with the wines, you can come any night and have this experience in our really beautiful wine cellar, which is also a private dining room.
So what I love about this is how personal it is, how unusual it is, because Minnesotans love going to wine dinners. I mean, there is no question right now in a time when people are maybe being a little more careful about how they spend their money, what they are choosing to do is do things that are really unique and special. And so wine dinners are doing pretty well. But the idea of having like Larry Turley from Turley Cellars or Angelo Gaia from Gaia, you can't have Angelo Gaia, but Gaia from Gaia is amazing. And how do you know these people? Well, I know the answer to this because I've known you a long time.
Well, you know that I've got a long history. You can look at me and see that I have a long history in
Hoyt's old. What he's saying is he's old. You've been around the block.
I saw a meme the other day that said, I'm not 21, I'm 21 with 51 years experience. And that I'm going with that. So, you know, when you're aware that during 2019, 2020, I had the idea of having a series of Zoom wine tastings because you couldn't have wine tastings in person. And it was actually my wife's idea, Tina, whom you also know well. And so I made contact. You know, at that time, winery owners, winemakers were desperate for something to do to promote their wines because they couldn't travel and meet their customers in person. So that was a huge success, this series of wine tastings that I did by Zoom calls with people like Gaia, you know, Doug Schaefer from Schaefer Vineyards, Laura Catena from Catena in Argentina. So that idea has kind of morphed into this idea, which is the virtual wine dinners in the wine cellar at Forepaugh.
Forepaugh is a beautiful historic building. What's it like for you? I mean, they brought back some of the classics, but the menu is all refreshed and new, largely refreshed and new. What's it been like kind of pairing wine there?
Well, it's honestly, it's a privilege to work there. It's such an iconic place. It's such a beautiful building. The owner, Bruce Daher, who's an extraordinary self-made man, wants to have a world-class wine program. And that's kind of what I know how to do or love doing.
Yeah.
I love working the floor in a nice restaurant, talking to people about wine, helping them have a more special experience than they would have if I didn't work in that restaurant. I was actually, you know, I am 72 years old. I've had this long career. I was looking for a place where I could be what I called an elder statesman of wine. And Forepaugh is exactly the perfect place for that because it's such a beautiful place. The food is absolutely wonderful. The service is, you know, attentive and professional. And then hopefully the wine program's pretty good since I'm in charge.
Hoyt Hill is our guest. Forepaugh is hosting these wine dinners. And what's cool about doing it in the cellar is you could bring another couple or two couples, so 4 to 6 people, and you just book it like a dinner. And then you pick. So what are some of the different experiences that people can do?
Well, you mentioned Turley Cellars. Larry Turley's one of the great Zinfandel producers, maybe the great Zinfandel producer. Gaia, whose father, Angelo, is easily the most important Italian winemaker of our time. We have Michael Mondavi, who is Robert Mondavi's son and was the winemaker for Robert Mondavi. Robert Mondavi wasn't actually the winemaker, Michael was. And Michael's a pretty good friend. So we have a dinner booked with him with his wines, which are called M. by Mondavi. We also have Laurence Ferraud from Domaine de Pégot, which is one of the, I would say, top 4 producers of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And then
cool.
I think tomorrow I'm recording one with the winemaker for Kogan Cellars, which is one of the absolute premier Cabernet Sauvignon producers in the Napa Valley.
I just think it's such a unique idea, and this building is so cool. And downtown St. Paul, which needs like the energy, like getting that. If you're going to, looking for a special night out, that sounds pretty cool. And then all of the wine is paired with your menu, or how does it work?
We write a menu for the wines that we're going to serve. So,
cool.
With the Gaia Barbaresco, we're serving a pasta bolognese with fresh black truffles. With the Turley Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon, we are serving beef, the famous Forepaugh beef Wellington,
which is so good.
It's really good.
You brought in a little Côte d'Rône for us here, a little shop, right?
Yeah, this is, I would say the great Côte d'Rône. It's a wine we serve by the glass. Wine Spectator magazine said a few years ago that Jean-Louis Chauve was the great winemaker in the world. I think that's arguably true. And this is his, it's a blend of Syrah, Grenache, Mourvèdre, Carignan, and Sanzol. And I think it's an extraordinary wine to be lucky to be able to serve by the glass.
3 top restaurants, Hoyt Hill, wine, but you've eaten and worked in some of the best restaurants in the country.
Yes.
What would be your 3 shout outs here in the Twin Cities?
Well, I have to mention Forepaugh.
Well, of course, yes.
Because I want to continue to be employed. I really love Young Joni. I love Young Joni. I've been there several times. It's just fantastic. And then there's a restaurant called Restaurant Alma, which I think is really special. I've been there a few times. It's really wonderful restaurant. And then I'd say Spoon and Stable and Meritage would probably be tied for third. And I wouldn't really rank those first, second, and third. I just think those 5 restaurants would be my favorite restaurants here.
People can just go to Forepaugh's website and you click on Wine Cellar. I tell you, if you've never had, like, especially with graduation season coming up or people looking just for a nice night out, I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Thank you. I'm glad you think that.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope so. If you're like, in the scheme of my ideas, mediocre.
We've had several people take advantage of it. We had a group Saturday night for the Turley Cellars dinner, and they were just raving when they left. They thought it was so special being able to listen to Larry Turley talk about his wines. And we have a group coming for the Gaia dinner this Saturday. They're really close friends. I know they're going to have a wonderful time.
Does the price vary based on what the wine is? Yes, because like Gaia wines are. Whew.
There is a, I'd rather not talk about prices
yes,
on the radio.
Don't worry about it.
But
don't worry about it.
It's, as you said, if you click on Wine Cellars, then all these dinners come up. I think there's 7 different ones on the website right now. It's just kind of like another menu item. You can order the Turley dinner. And if the price is dictated pretty much entirely by the wines,
of course.
Gaia's wines. The one which is 500-point wines is obviously going to be pretty expensive. The one that's Gaia wines is obviously going to be pretty expensive because his wines are expensive.
Yeah. They're so good.
They're,
oh my goodness.
They're as special as any wines in the world.
Always better when someone else pays for it. That's my view. That's how it is. Hoyt Hill, thank you so much for coming in.
Jason, as I said, it's always good spending time with you. Thank you so much.
Forepaugh. They've got this is a special part for the wine cellar, just a really cool, unique opportunity. But they've got great happy hour, patio. We're almost to patio season, wonderful bars. So make sure you remember it.
The patio over the Porte Cochere has to be the best patio in
Hoyt, you can't say Porte Cochere on the radio. No one knows no one knows it's the part where you drive under the thing.
The patio 20 feet in the air over the place where you enter the restaurant.
That's better.
Is really fabulous. With Irvine
You're
Park
working in St. Paul, Hoyt. You can't say Port.
Well, you know that I've worked in all these great French restaurants, so it kind of comes naturally to me.
4:48, back in just a minute with maybe a surprising, maybe not surprising, but one news agency that's fighting for the right thing. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hoyt, what wine would you pair with a pork chop? We're still on the radio with a beautiful Minnesota pork chop. What varietal do you think is perfect?
Well, I think you can go either way with pork, and it really
White or
depends
red,
on the
right?
sauce.
Yeah.
I'd say a very full-bodied white wine, like a white wine from the Rhone Valley, would be great.
Yeah.
A not overly oaky California Chardonnay would be great.
Yes.
Or a more medium-bodied red wine. Again, if it depends on the sauce.
On the sauce, it's all
right?
about the sauce.
It always comes back to the sauce.
I mean, this is life advice right here. It always comes back to the sauce. Minnesota pork. It's part of the beauty of our Minnesota pork and our Minnesota farm community. What they have really been talking to me about lately is how excited they are to see their protein, lean, high in protein, delicious, made right here in Minnesota, in all different types of cooking. So we're seeing throughout the world demand for Minnesota pork. Right here, you see it in Mexican cuisine. You see it in Asian cuisine. Of course, you see it with a beautiful bone-in pork chop on the grill. All good options, all supporting 3,000 family farmers in this state. Looking for recipe inspiration? I got you. mnpork.com. Click on Pork 101, and all the recipes are right there. Go to that grocery store and butcher shop, and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
Some people follow the rules, but where's the fun in that? I'm Saraya, and this is Rule Breakers, the podcast where we celebrate the rebels, the risk takers, and the ones who make their own way. Every week, I sit down with the boldest voices in sports, entertainment, and beyond to talk about breaking barriers, defying expectations, and rewriting the rules. No limits, no apologies, just real talk. Follow and listen to Rule Breakers with Saraya, an Odyssey podcast available now for free on the Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Are your checking and savings accounts feeling dim? Allow Luminate Bank to make banking brighter. With our radiant savings and brighter checking accounts, we're here to help strengthen your financial future with options for both personal and business accounts. With no minimum balance requirements, high yield rates, and our online banking and bill pay tools, Luminate Bank is simply the best choice. So don't let your money sit in the shadows. Let Luminate Bank illuminate your finances. Learn more at luminate.bank. That's LUMINATE.bank. Luminate. We make banking brighter. Member FDIC. Other fees may apply and fees may reduce earnings.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop in store online. You can find the delays in place. Traveling 694. That continues to be jammed up as make way between Victoria and Highway 100. North 100 slowing past County Road 81. South 169 at Highway 21 down in Jordan is currently closed right now. It's a serious injury crash. I expect the road to be closed for probably another hour. Find quality produce at Whole Foods Market. Get 4 yellow mangoes for $5 with Prime through April 8th. Have them alone as a tangy snack or dice them into jalapeno salsa. While supplies last, shop in store online. Terms apply. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
At Newgate School, we've turned donated cars into success stories. For 49 years, we've helped underserved young adults in the Twin Cities learn automotive repair skills with zero tuition. Your vehicle donation can teach, fund, and also provide reliable transportation for single moms. Learn more at newgateschool.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather is brought to you by Newgate School. Newgate School, changing lives for over 45 years. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 36. Tomorrow, up to 56. Thursday, we're looking for scattered showers early, though. High of 50. Going to heat up this weekend, though. Right now, it's 49 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DERUSHA.
That is the number one addiction in America. Is there any doubt about it?
No, I don't think so.
It's not close.
No.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
So we talked a little bit earlier about Senator Nicole Mitchell. And don't you think it's weird that we haven't seen the video of her yet? When was she arrested? Last April? So almost a year ago, she was arrested, and we still haven't seen the body camera video. Alpha News, which is a conservative news outlet. I would say Alpha News is to conservative news, maybe what, I don't know, the Minnesota Reformer. We have a lot of these sort of news organizations where they just sort of, what they are. But a lot of times they're still doing great work. And what Alpha News is doing right now, I think, frankly, it's a little embarrassing. The rest of the media isn't doing it. But Alpha News went to court to say why we should see the body camera and the dash camera footage. Because that, as far as the public, isn't that what helps tell this story? So like a year later, she'll say whatever she wants to say in court, as she should. But what she said to the officer in the moment, what she looked like we have this sort of idea from the officer saying she was like wearing all black. And I don't know, I have a mental image, don't you, Dan, as to what you think that looks like?
I do.
But I want to see the real deal.
I do too. I think they're doing the right thing. I think this body camera footage should be made public. And I would also caution people not to read too much into it, because I think that'd be very easy to do. And without context and without the rest of the story, you can form a narrative real quickly that maybe that video portrays and maybe it doesn't.
But don't you have that narrative already based on the police report?
You do. And that's why I'm saying it's that much more care that needs to be taken. Yes, this footage should absolutely be released.
I mean,
that much more care should be taken.
Yeah, you're right. Generally speaking, I think people should.
You could prejudice a jury pool real quickly, is my point.
They're prejudiced already. Give me a break.
To a degree, this could increase it, though.
I don't know. I think it's been a year. So she has herself to blame for dragging this thing out. So too bad. It's in the public interest. I think this stuff should generally be released more quickly.
Agreed.
The idea that we need to hold it back so we don't prejudice the jury pool, but instead, here are the charges, here are the documents, here's a very one-sided view of the story already from prosecutors and from cops. Let's see what happened.
And my argument isn't that it should be held back for those reasons. My argument is we need to be more responsible consumers of that media instead of, because you know how easy it would be just to blast that for clicks, but we need to be more responsible in how that's handled.
Yeah, I mean, in general, we need to be more responsible in how we read data about that, but we're not, man. And she's not special. She's not, because you're a state senator. Who cares? That is why it should even be released even more. Anyway, I'm glad that Alpha News is standing up and fighting the fight. And that should be for the public to see. We got the lead coming your way in just a minute. I-94 construction chaos. What is going on? How long is it going to be rough? We'll talk about it.
Hi, Denny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show by Lindis Construction. Andy Lindis and I will be taking your home improvement questions both by phone and by text every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here for my friends at Terrene Dermatology, and they are so excited to share the big news that Terrene is up to 9 locations. I first went to Terrene at Roseville. That's their flagship, beautiful office. Dr. Mohiba Terrene takes care of me, takes care of my wife and my 2 teenagers. You may have a teenager in your life who could use a visit to a dermatologist. Roseville, Faribault, Maplewood, Monticello, Hudson, Eagan, that's pretty good. And then they add Farmington. And just this month, Lakeville and Lindstrom. So you look at the map of the Twin Cities metro area, wherever you are, you're covered. Terrene Dermatology will get you in within 3 weeks. 651-633-6883. You can make an appointment right from their website as well. Terrene is spelled Tareen. TerreneDermatology.com. Healthy skin starts at Terrene.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling.
I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Your traffic trackers and weather watchers. News Talk 830 WCCO, KMNB HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Another stressful day on Wall Street. The Dow finished 320 points lower. Bottom line for investors from analyst Michael Farr.
Be cautious and be deliberate. And remember, Warren Buffett's not panicking. He's looking at his buy list.
CBS's Linda Kenyon at the White House, where the deal making continues.
Taking in almost $2 billion a day in tariffs.
Noting market volatility, President Trump defended the tariffs.
Sometimes you have to mix it up a little bit.
And by doing so, the president says countries are clamoring to make deals.
Right now, Japan is flying here to make a deal. South Korea is flying here to make a deal, and others are flying here.
But when it comes to China, Trump says 50% tariffs will still go into effect at 12 a.m. Eastern Time, raising the overall tariffs to 104%. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
The Supreme Court today blocked an order requiring the Trump administration to return thousands of fired federal workers to their jobs. The order will keep them on paid leave for now, but legal analyst Laurie Levinson tells us it's not over.
Eventually, the Supreme Court's going to have to sort out whether the administration had the power to come in and do these wholesale firings of federal employees.
A judge has ordered the White House to lift its restrictions on the Associated Press. The news agency had been barred from many events because of its decision to continue referring to the Gulf of Mexico rather than the Gulf of America, as President Trump renamed it. There's a massive cleanup ahead in Kentucky following the heavy rains and flooding, but with the rivers just cresting, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg is urging patience.
There's so much debris in the water. The current is so incredibly fast. These are not safe conditions to be in.
The National Park Service has restored some content to its webpage after a public backlash. Matt Piper reports.
The National Park Service has restored a page on its website about the Underground Railroad and Harriet Tubman. Changes included removing Tubman's picture from the top of the page, editing text to remove references to slavery. A Park Service spokesperson says the changes were made without approval.
There are new allegations the Russians may be bringing in more foreign fighters to Ukraine. At the State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce.
We're aware of those reports that Ukraine captured 2 Chinese citizens fighting on behalf of Russia in Ukraine. China is a major enabler of Russia.
The death toll from the roof collapse at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic is now 58. Retired Major League pitcher Octavio Dotel was one of the victims. Recapping Wall Street, the Dow off 320 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 49 degrees at 5:03. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Pratt. The hour's top story. A University of Minnesota grad student who was detained last month by federal immigration agents now faces new federal charges.
28-year-old Dolgugan Günaydın, a Turkish citizen, appeared virtually before a federal judge for the first time since his March 27th arrest. During the hearing, prosecutors accused him of being a public safety and national security threat. A bond hearing is set for Friday where he could testify and the judge could rule on whether or not to release him. His attorneys argue the detainment is unlawful and that a past drunk driving case does not invalidate his visa. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The Minnesota State Patrol says one person was killed in a crash on Highway 169 near Jordan earlier this afternoon. It happened just before 1 p.m. when a Subaru entered the Highway 169, Highway 282 intersection and was struck by a southbound semi-truck driven by a 27-year-old man from Rice. The Subaru's driver died. Her name has not been released. The State Patrol reporting, though, that she is a 78-year-old woman who was from Jordan. Shakopee police, meanwhile, have identified the man hit and killed yesterday afternoon while walking along a ditch on County Road 101. 33-year-old Roman Lazovsky was struck by a vehicle that veered off the roadway. The vehicle's driver was also critically injured. The Minnesota State Patrol investigating that crash. Minnesota legislators asking for emergency funds for EMS services amid what they're calling a crisis in rural Minnesota.
The proposal would support workforce recruitment, increase Medicaid reimbursements, and create new streams of funding for EMS statewide. DFL Senator Grant Housechild says without more money, lives could be on the line.
I want us to imagine for a second that you're at home, maybe on Lake Vermilion up in northern Minnesota, and your loved one has a heart attack. You dial 911 and you're waiting and waiting for an ambulance. This is a moral imperative issue. In our rural communities, we are not seeing the sustainability of ambulance services.
Last year, Minnesota implemented a $30 million emergency aid package for ambulance services. Housechild stresses that there's still more work to do. Lawmakers are requesting $50 million a year in ongoing funding to combat the issue. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830. WCCO.
And in less than a month, you'll need a real ID for all flights in the U.S. State and federal officials are encouraging folks to apply as soon as you can. Jessica Maley from TSA says not everyone needs to get a real ID.
So if you are a person who does not fly a lot, if you're a person who says, hey, I don't mind using my passport to fly, that's fine. That will work for you May 7th and beyond. And there are people who, have different circumstances. So we definitely, appreciate that and just have something that's going to work for you at the checkpoint based on your personal circumstances.
41% of Minnesotans have already received their real ID, and demand is increasing ahead of the May 7th deadline. Also increasing is the turnaround time between applying and receiving a real ID card. It's 5:06. Traffic and weather coming up next.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
169 southbound down in Jordan. The accident has been taken care of. The highway has been reopened. Mark just reported that in the newscast. The highway has been reopened. Things running much smoother through there. If you're going to be traveling 610 eastbound, got your slowdowns between Broadway and 252. Highway 10 westbound slowing Egret, heading up toward the area of Round Lake Boulevard. I-94 westbound slows up between Highway 280 and the tunnel. And if you're traveling East 94, watch for slowdowns past 55, heading out toward Riverside. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Brainerd International Raceway presents the GSTA Rod and Custom Spectacular April 12th and 13th at our new location, Canterbury Park Expo Center in Shakopee. Visit GSTA-rod-custom.com for discount tickets and more information. Free parking too.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And the weather is brought to you by GSTA Rod and Custom Spectacular, scheduled for April 12th and 13th. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
There's not much rain in the forecast. No snow. Don't panic. The chance of rain, though, will be tomorrow. Starting the day around 36, warming up to 56. The showers very isolated in nature. The threat of rain will linger into the first half of the day on Thursday as we hit a high of 50. The big headline is the warm-up. 60 on Friday. We could hit 70 on Sunday.
All right. Thank you, Chris. It's sunny and 49 degrees. I'm Mark Fry. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Rooted in Minnesota, made for Minnesotans, but good for fans streaming us anywhere on the globe. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DERUSHA. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool, brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DERUSHA.
It is Tuesday. It's Twins Ticket Tuesday, by the way, so keep listening. I haven't heard the Win Twins sounder yet.
Not yet. Don't call now.
Don't call now. Keep listening, though. Would you hear that sound effect? We're giving a 4-pack of tickets to next Tuesday's game, and if the weather holds for the weekend, we might hit 70 on Sunday. So what does that mean about Tuesday? No idea. Like Tuesday, it could be 20. That's
Very
why
possible.
April is the worst month of the year. It is the worst month of the year. In 25 minutes, we are going to talk about White Lotus. 6 million people watched the finale on Sunday, which is sort of crazy in a streaming environment. Even more have been watching in the coming days. But I want to talk about friendship, what that finale tells us about friendship and the difference between sort of, I hate to say middle-aged, but like, I guess that's me, right? We're middle-aged, Dan. Would you say 50?
Oh, we're certainly middle-aged. I'm probably on the back end of middle-aged.
I don't know about that. 50 is still middle.
I'm almost dead, pretty much.
We'll talk about friendship coming up at 5:30. Let's do the DRush Hour news headlines, the lead.
Now, time to get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the day. These are the DeRush Hour headlines.
Good evening. Our top story.
This just in.
Our top story.
We begin tonight with.
We begin tonight.
We begin tonight. We begin with the lead.
It is rich that the head of the Senate Ethics Subcommittee is under fire and being asked about his ethics. Should State Senator Bobby Joe step down? Should Bobby Joe Champion leave the Senate, leave his position as president? What should he do? Here's what he's accused of doing. Reporting first came from the Minnesota Reformer, Star Tribune, other news organizations confirming it. He is accused of steering multiple government grants to a friend and to a former client and repeatedly pushing for money for a nonprofit that he used to work for. It was a nonprofit he worked for decades ago, but his legislative assistant also recently worked there. Let's check in with Morning Take, Drive Time Takes, Blois Olson, and start with that question. Should Bobby Joe Champion leave?
You know, Jason, it's just too early to tell. I think what we're learning little by little is that, you know, there are some conflicts out there. And sometimes it's worse when it comes out in small pieces because it's just this drip, drip, drip. And so, you know, look, I think if his colleagues in the DFL caucus start to lose some favor or they think this is another scar that they don't want to take on, then, yeah, he could lose his position as Senate president. But I don't think this is anything he resigns over or anything like that. And we know from the Nicole Mitchell situation, they've been able to, you know, extend the clock pretty far on issues in the Senate.
Some of what I think as an outsider is sort of complicated to figure out is the fact that we have a part-time legislature. These legislators do have other jobs. They have had former jobs. And so, like, is this a problematic conflict? Is this a run-of-the-mill conflict? That is where it's sort of difficult for me to sort out.
There have been other senators, including some who serve now, who voted on big bills that funded their industry or regulations that were related to their business. That's a conflict. People have called it out. This is a little different because this is a place where it was a direct personal relationship and a specific amount of money for the organization that you had a direct personal relationship with. I also think that it's telling that, you know, the organization won't acknowledge whether or not it ever paid Senator Champion. So I think there's a lot more facts to come out. And until they do, I don't know that we know just how deep the damage could be.
It is a little bit of a reminder, though, and we've seen this dispute at the city level in Minneapolis about some of these kind of violence interrupters or some of these pastors who run organizations that get paid. Some of this stuff is like, this is some messy stuff trying to trace down exactly what's going on here.
It really is. You know, I did some political work in Detroit in the late 90s, and I learned about this model of pastors who were connected to the community, who could help keep peace and law enforcement. And so when it came to Minneapolis, I said, well, it's working some other places, but it is messy. It doesn't feel right. And frankly, it pulls back kind of the curtain on just the way in which money moves. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. Very interesting. Blois, thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. Talk to you soon.
It is one of those questions that a lot of us will face here. Like, how serious is this issue? What is the fallout? Story number 2 on the lead. Maybe you're stuck in it right now. Traffic on Interstate 94 has been brutal over the last 2 days as the highway has been shut down. Well, this weekend it was closed between Minneapolis and St. Paul. Now it's down to 2 lanes in each direction. And the complaints are coming in big time by people who live in St. Paul and have to go west for their job, or people trying to maybe get to downtown St. Paul. So we wanted to, well, first of all, we asked MnDOT, Jerry Peterson, who joins us now to give us some insight. We asked MnDOT to come on, MnDOT, and they didn't, imagine that. They didn't really want to talk about it. They did offer to answer some questions by email, but they are repairing and resurfacing bridges. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, so the stretch they're working on is I-94 between Franklin Avenue and 35W. So those 5 bridges, the Mississippi, Franklin, Cedar, the light rail line, and over Hiawatha, those 5 bridge surfaces they're going to be working on, doing repair work, maintenance work, and whatever else they can do on those bridges, and also work along that stretch of I-94. So that 2 lanes is what you'll find now through November.
I'm sorry, through November, you said?
Into November. So it's a season-long project that they're working on through that stretch. And the thing to keep in mind, Jason, is that what you're seeing today, the current configuration, that's going to last till about June, and then they'll probably be making some more changes at that point. But we'll keep you up to date here on WCCO. So during this whole time, during this project, the length of the project itself, you're going to find changes. Different ramps will be closing and reopening, like the ramps from 6th Street to 94 East, that goes till late April. The ramp West 94 to 7th Street, that opens up in April. The other ones will open up in June that are currently closed. So a lot of changes, and just take it nice and easy as you make your way through there.
1 hour delays is what I'm hearing. 1 hour additions to people's commute. When you look at this, did they have other options? I guess part of it is, as a commuter, you're like, come on, there had to be a better way to do this. I guess I don't know, other than shutting it down entirely and trying to get it done in 2 months instead of 5 months,
Well, I think the problem there is that we've got so much traffic in the Twin Cities, even after COVID. Things are beginning to build back in since COVID, but I don't know what you really do. And one of the things that MnDOT has really tried hard to do over the last couple of decades is try to keep at least 1 or 2 lanes open so that the traffic can flow, because some of these areas, where do you send the people anyway?
What's the best detour for folks looking to get around it? Or is there no good answer?
Honestly, I don't think there is a real good answer. I'm looking at the maps now, and it's like I can see where the traffic is building along the crosstown, so that's become heavier. People are starting to look for other routes themselves, and they're doing that. 36 is looking heavier, 694 is looking heavier. So they're trying to find different things. And that's the other thing too, Jason, is that the first, 2, 3, 4 days, depending on the project, it's going to vary each day. So you're going to encounter different situations even as we go through the first week or so here before things kind of settle down into some kind of a groove. But, MnDOT does its very best to make sure they don't send anybody to a city street. That's the last thing they want. They've tried to do that, and that didn't work too well. The last time they closed a bridge, if you're curious, was 169, the Swamp Bridge.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Down by Hopkins. That was the last time they've closed a highway completely. And that made sense considering where the project was and what they needed to do. But then you had 100 and 494 as your alternates. But a lot of people were taking the city streets. So then the cities were getting very upset that we had all that traffic on the city streets.
120,000 to 150,000 vehicles a day go through this segment. JP, thank you. We appreciate it. Story number 3 on the lead. Well, since we're talking about the highways, the blackout plates, you know that I have been fascinated with these black background, white text license plates. And I am astonished at how many people have been buying them. The Minnesota Star Tribune this afternoon published a little look at who is buying them, the popularity by age. So, how many people have bought these? Nearly 250,000. It does sort of look cool. Like on some cars, Dan, it does look cool. I have to confess, the blackout plate, it looks all right. I know you would pay $0.
No, there's no chance I would ever. Now, is somebody that I know very, very well that has a black pickup truck that have one of those. Yep, they do.
I mean, it's only an extra $30, but $30 a year, I'm like, no.
I could literally spend the rest of the show describing to you the things I would rather do with $30 than buy a blacked out plate.
If you had to guess what age they were most popular with, what age would you guess?
I would guess I would think generationally
10-year gap. 25 to 35, 35 to 45. That's
45 to 55.
Bingo. 45 to 55.
I say Gen X. I think it's our people.
Our people love this.
Yep.
Also, our people are like $30 NBD, I guess. That's the most popular. They are least popular in the 18 to 24, probably because that age group is not doing it, not buying their plates. They're still on mom and dad's, maybe.
Probably.
Owners of luxury BMWs are most likely to have blackout plates.
Shocker.
By a long shot. Cadillac is next, then Jeep, then Volkswagen, then Lexus. Buick, least likely. I don't know. Why not? Make that Buick look sexy. Let's go.
If it makes people happy and makes them feel good,
$30 is a low.
Go for it.
Low cost.
I'd never do it, but
I thought that story was kind of interesting.
And the beauty of it is, then the rest of us get to sit and silently judge.
That's right.
So, perfect for Minnesota.
My wife bought a Mercedes, and she almost bought the blackout plates, and I think she didn't just because she knew I was going to make fun of her. That is the power I have. That is the lead in the DRush Hour News headlines. Page 2 coming your way in just a minute. We will look at a big night for Minneapolis politics tonight. A surprising fact about former NFL Hall of Fame, current Hall of Famer, former Supreme Court Justice Alan Page. And there's something in your brain that you might be a little worried about coming back.
Drive Time with DeRusha is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Have you updated your wardrobe for the spring and the summer? It's Jason, and I want your first stop to be J.H. & Sons at the Galleria. J.H. & Sons has become my number one stop for menswear. Yes, they've got unbelievable tailoring. So if you're looking for a suit, you have wedding season coming up. I'm bringing Sammy over there tomorrow night to get measured for a suit for prom, high school graduation, all of that. J.H. & Sons will make that experience so cool for you. They've got those entry-level options for you, as well as some of the most luxurious names and brands in fashion. Now, when it comes to spring and summer, linen is top trend. Every article I'm reading from all the men's, and I know you guys love men's fashion magazines. Dan Cook is like, he's got stacks and stacks of GQ sitting on his desk. Linen is in. Linen pants, linen shirts. But a lot of guys, if you're like me, you sort of don't know how to wear it. Kevin helped me out as we tried on different styles, different sizes, different colors. Will I be doing the show wearing a pink linen shirt soon? Yes. Oh, baby. Buckle up. And when you're wearing linen, you want to go multiple buttons open. And if you want to look classy instead of trashy, you'll go to J.H. & Sons in Edina, where they will tell you the right way to wear it. J.H. & Sons has all the spring fashions online. Check it out at jhandsons.com.
You know that feeling when you're about to cut into a juicy steak and hope it tastes as perfect as it looks? Well, worry no more. The Chef IQ Sense is a wireless cooking thermometer that eliminates under or overcooking your chicken, fish, or meat, whether on the stovetop, oven, or grill. The probe is inserted into your food and connected wirelessly to an app. Once you select your desired doneness, the app alerts you when to take the steaks off the grill or the turkey out of the oven. It's that simple. Order one now on chefiq.com. That's chefiq.com.
By the Art is celebrating 30 years this spring with their anniversary sale, April 8th through the 19th. Save even more on their direct-to-you pricing with special anniversary offers on their premium maintenance-free outdoor furniture. And for one day only, this Saturday, April 12th, don't miss their biggest display sale ever. happening at the factory showroom in Jordan. Save 20 to 50% on over 900 display pieces. That's from 8 to 4, but come early for the best deals. Learn more at buytheyard.net or visit any showroom for more details.
I've got the rake out. I'm cleaning out my closets, and I'm looking at all of my old windows. It's Jason DeRusha for Window Nation. April is such a good time to spruce up around your house. Let's get rid of the old, drafty, ugly, hard-to-open windows and start fresh. Window Nation has an unbelievable deal right now. Buy 4, get 4 free. No limit to how much you could save it if you buy a house full of windows. They're including a free entry door as well. 0% financing, 0 down, no monthly payments. You're getting new windows today and paying Zippo until 2027. So how do they do it? Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation. They're building windows to their high-quality specs, and Window Nation passes the savings on to you. You're protecting your home with some of the best windows you can buy at a fraction of the price of those other brands. This sale does end soon, so don't miss your chance to take advantage of the buy 4, get 4 free. Schedule your free estimate right now at 866-90NATION or get to windownation.com.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, huh?
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code FAST. Swishradio.com, code FAST.
Jason DeRusha.
Who can say that they don't care about something with more passion than me? My passionate indifference is what makes this show special.
On News Talk 830, WCCO.
The Rush Hour News headlines, page 2. I am no big fan of political caucuses. I think party endorsements are overall giving us awful candidates, and yet...
Who am I? Why am I here?
Think of how many Minneapolis Democrats are going to be asking that question later tonight. The caucus night is tonight. Axios reporting on this. The party's lengthy endorsement process. Endorsements to me, I don't know, man. They almost tell you, like, don't vote for this person. Residents will pick delegates to attend ward level and citywide conventions later this year where final endorsement decisions will be made. Now, a lot of normal voters, non-activists, non-extreme, although I don't know that the term extreme is right. What's an extreme anymore? I don't know. A lot of people don't have time to do this. Sit around, debate, talk about issues. And so you end up with the people who show up select. Right now, it's the incumbent mayor, Jacob Fry, vying against 5 different challengers for an endorsement. State Senator Omar Fatah, Councilmember Emily Koski, Reverend Dwayne Davis, Jazz Hampton, and Brenda Short. 13 city council seats also on the ballot. I was today years old when I learned that Alan Page makes maple syrup.
The air is fresh. It's quiet as can be. Really doesn't get much better.
It's NFL Hall of Famer, former Minnesota Supreme Court Justice, children's book author, and of course, a maple syrup. Minnesota Star Tribune reported that Alan Page goes to his cabin 3 hours north of here and carries on a tradition that he and his late wife, Diane Sims Page, started more than a decade ago. They tap maple trees and they make gallons of maple syrup. Saves a few bottles every year to auction off at the Page Education Foundation Gala. Does it with his grandkids. First year, tapped 13 trees. They've done 80. Now they do about 50. He says there's just something magical That's sitting in the North Woods, watching sap boil. I agree, man. Like, it is
One of
cool.
our colleagues is way into this,
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mr. Josephson.
Oh.
With a mutual friend of ours. They
Cool.
get together every
Ah.
spring and do this.
I think I remember taking my kids out to the Elm Creek Park Reserve to watch when they do the big, like the cauldron and they're boiling it.
Yeah.
And
It's fascinating as a
It's
process.
cool.
It's cool. I wouldn't want to.
It's
do
a
it.
lot of
It's a lot of
work.
work. I don't have the time.
I remember in Vermont or New Hampshire, I went to like a big farm. And it's cool watching how they use gravity and the sap kind of gets collected. But even in the small forest where you see the little bags and everything, I love it. We have about 5 bottle caps of plastic in our brains.
So the average male testicle has 8.2 milligrams of microplastics.
I don't
and
know that
the
we
brain,
needed
the average
that.
brain has more than 50% more microplastics than we did 10 years ago.
Who's looking there? Why do we have to do that? New York Times asking, what are microplastics doing to our bodies? Are they asking what microplastics are doing to our testicles? That's science, man. Inside a New Mexico lab, researchers say, all right, yeah, about 5 bottle caps of plastic just kind of floating around in your brains. Question is, so what? In their initial research, brains of people with dementia had far more microplastics than the brains of people without it. So the idea is this: any substance, even water, can be poisonous at a high enough dose. So the question is, what is that dose? Some of these microplastics floating around is maybe a nothing. And maybe there's a line. That's what they're looking at right now. Obviously, no one ever says, hey, cool, glad there's a bunch of plastic floating around in my brain. But they are discovering that the microplastics in our bodies are way smaller than anything other scientists have described. These fragments are 20 nanometers long. They're so thin they were translucent. Very, very interesting stuff. That's the DRush Hour News headlines at 5:30. I want to talk about White Lotus. We will not have spoilers, really. There'd be like a minor spoiler. What White Lotus can tell us about friendship of, as Dan said, people of a certain age. The differences between men and women and the value of friendships that last over time. We'll talk about it when we come back.
More Drive Time with DeRusha is on the way following these messages on News Talk 830 WCCO.
What's for dinner? What are you having for dinner tonight? It's Jason here for the Minnesota Pork Board. So glad to be telling the story of the 3,000 family farmers all over the state. Now, we know Minnesota pork is delicious. You know I love pork chops, pork shoulder, pork tenderloin. If I had to pick a food, it'd be pork. Is that cheating because it's so many different foods? It is so many different flavors. You can find inspiration for recipes at mnpork.com, all different flavor profiles. You should know that Minnesota's pig farmers are working so hard on sustainability efforts, and the Pork Board is part of that, along with researchers and scientists. What I love about Minnesota's pig farmers is that so often it's generational. So right now in southwestern Minnesota, Gordon and Brandy Spronk are passing down their farm. They're working through it to Courtney and Seth, next generation. On that farm, Courtney and Seth are able to use 30, 40 years of information about that soil, about the amount of manure to place in order to fertilize it. And they use that manure from the pigs. It's this sustainable kind of circle. They're growing corn, they're growing beans, they're milling their own feed. All of that is going on 3,000 family farms all around Minnesota. They're doing the right thing for today and doing the right thing for generations to come. So feel good when you go to that butcher shop and grocery store and say, let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
Ever had a genius take at 2 a.m.?
I have a suggestion for the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Or the perfect comeback 3 hours too late?
I've had enough of Governor Walz. Quit whining.
Don't let it go to waste. Leave us a message on the Odyssey app whenever inspiration strikes.
If we don't have the money to give them, then they're just going to go to other places.
Right next to the Listen Live button, there's a microphone. Just hit it to record your thoughts, then send to the studio for playback.
Keep up the good work.
If calling or texting is not an option, leave a voice message anytime on the free Odyssey app.
You'll feel better, you'll sleep better, and it's all coming to you for free. That's right. Jordana Green here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Mini Leaf products are free shipping all of April. That triple diamond pain cream is perfect for any pain you're having and maybe even any bug bites or a sunburn that you're having. Want to sleep better? Those Sleep Night gummies will definitely do it. Go to MINNELEAF.com. I use these products. They really help me through my cancer recovery. They help me get off my Ambien. Those Sleep Night gummies are a real charm. MINNELEAF.com. That's minileaf.com. Free shipping throughout the month of April. Tell them Jordana sent you when you go to minileaf.com. Free shipping all of April.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
If you need to sell your home, know that even if you can't time the market out perfectly, your home can still sell for the most money possible. Hey, it's Vanita. That is, if you hire my friend, the Good Neighbor agent, John Schuster, and his team with the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Wendy and Brian were living in the western suburbs. They didn't have much time to wait for their home to sell. A lot of stress involved. They'd heard about John here on CCO radio. They decided to give him a call. It was the right decision. John taught them his blueprint for success, and they followed it. They picked the mark.
I'm glad you have a beautiful
They
face.
wanted over the asking price. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000 on
I'm just happy to be at the table.
JohnSchusterGroup.com. Terms and conditions.
Descriptions required online consultation.
We started this life together. I mean, we're going through it apart, but we're still together.
Guys, millions of men
I look at you
experience
guys,
ED.
and it
Not
feels
everyone can
meaningful.
access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone. And he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Finding slowdowns place traveling Highway 10 westbound as you make way past Egret, heading up to Round Lake Boulevard. West 94 jammed up as you make way through Maple Road. Hemlock Lane heading over to Beaver Lake Road. 94 westbound trying to make way into downtown Minneapolis. Slows as you make way toward the work zone past Cretin. East 94 slowing past 55 heading out into the Midway. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRusha here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
The Canopy Group brings us the weather forecast, which comes from our friend Chris Schaefer. Chris?
Quiet tonight as the clouds increase, only falling back to 36. There will be a chance of some very isolated showers tomorrow, and that'll linger into the first half of the day on Thursday. Most of the time, we should be dry. 56 tomorrow, 50 on Thursday. We could hit 60 Friday, and likely heading for a high near 70 by Sunday.
Sunny, 47 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
When he showed up, when he ever did show up, it wasn't very nice.
There's other instances, though, where he just shows up places and he's like this great guy. But I've also heard that he can be quite difficult.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
We started this life together. I mean, we're going through it apart, but we're still together. And I look at you guys and it feels meaningful. And I can't explain it, but even when we're just sitting around the pool talking about whatever and name shit, it's...
That is a clip from the White Lotus, which had its finale on Sunday. And there's lots of drama and lots of stuff that happens in this show, and I'm not going to spoil it. But I was fascinated by this friendship. 3 women, middle age, not too far from my age. And I was talking about it this morning with my friend, Stephanie March, who joins us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Because we both, I think, saw this friendship and just immediately started thinking about our own friendships, our place in life, what makes a friendship special. Stephanie, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, anytime.
And there we heard who was one of the most compelling characters, Laurie.
Yeah.
She's crying, she's very sad. She's talking about how time and being with your oldest friends just it hits different. And it kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of, people saying that these women were not friends, true friends, and they're sort of, focusing on the little bit of the sniping that was happening and the little slinging of the insults. But honestly, those are just like one moment in what's obviously like a 30-year-long friendship with these women. And I don't know, for me, it kind of feels like, you can suffer that stuff. If you're really friends with someone, you can suffer some of those things and still come back from it. It's not, you go through stuff with people, you get the ups, you get the downs, you let it really affect you and you learn from it.
The reaction to this has been interesting because there are these 3 women who are friends. And of course, like everybody, people love to talk about women friendships, right?
Yeah.
And dig into the drama and try. But I thought, so you have Jaclyn, who's like this sort of actress, superficial, insecure. I worked in television a long time. Jaclyn, very familiar.
You know who Jaclyn is, yeah.
I'm not naming names, but yes, like I get it. And then you have
getting everything for free, and she has to stand in for photo ops, and yes, we get it.
Then you've got Kate, who is kind of the Trump voting Texas religious. She's got the perfect life.
Yeah.
So she thinks.
That's a country club, right?
And then you have the complex Laurie. But what I like about this, Steph, is that I think there's this idea today that your friends need to be in the same spot as you, with the same personality, the same belief, the same stuff. And I just found such beauty in this long-term friendship that lasted through time, even though these people couldn't be more different. But yet, like, there's something that happens when you're together.
Yeah. And, the other side is true. Like, I get it where you come to the table. Sometimes those friendships that have been so long, they don't always balance out. Meaning, like, sometimes you're, going through it. Like, I'm going through a divorce, or I've got, the kid who's challenged at school. And then other times it may be, it may be another challenge. Like, maybe they're not, Laurie or Jaclyn's going to lose her job or her husband. And maybe that's another moment. And then Laurie's on the up. But the truth of it is like they were obviously in this place, and the idea of it being a competition, it happens. It's like you get in that place and you're like, you kind of measure yourself against other people, even your besties, and you're kind of in that space where it kind of gets a little bit, and it just takes one person to say, you know what? It's kind of sucks right now. Yeah. And that's what Laurie did in that moment. She kind of said, look, I'm not in a great place, and I have been sad all week. And you can see the relief on both the other faces when she does it. When she says, you know what? Let's just admit to all the bad stuff too, because that's actually what makes me happy, is just being alive.
Because the first 2 did the like, oh, it was so gross. It was so beautifully written. But the first one was like, we have been tending our garden and everything is in bloom.
Our gardens are in bloom.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I literally heard that. I was like, are we really doing this? Really? At this final space? And then Jaclyn with her, like, I think she was like, I'm just floating on a cloud.
Yes.
And you guys really ground me. I'm like, they have not grounded you at all.
No, it was awful.
Yeah. And so then for Laurie to come and say, you know what? It's been hard, and it's all hard. And, I don't know where I am right now. And yet it's okay because I'm with you guys that I can say that. And that in truth, when we put it all down, I'm just happy to be here at the table with you. And that is actually an expression of love that it's weird to me that so many people online found it to be that she was like saying how that she was sort of lessening herself. And I was like, no, especially she's detaching from the need to not be something she isn't. And that's,
yeah. Yeah, because there was this line at the end that I thought was great where she says, I'm glad you have a beautiful face.
Yep.
To the actress. I'm glad that you have a beautiful life.
Yep.
To the maybe happy, maybe not Texas housewife.
Right.
And she says, I'm just happy to be at the table. And I think some people saw that as like, oh, poor Laurie.
Yeah, like she's so miserable and so depressed. And I was like, no. Like, and especially when you consider the Buddhist theme throughout the whole season, which is intentional from Mike White, which he's already said, but the Buddhist idea of non-attachment, meaning like you go through life and you let the experiences like change you and form you. You don't form attachments to it. You don't make your identity the thing you're going through. And that's what Laurie was doing. She basically said, look, I'm not going to hold myself in the prison of being a perfect life or the prison of having this perfect face. I'm free and I'm just going to be happy. And that's attaining something actualized. Whereas the other two, then I keep coming back to the fact that they kind of looked at her and they were like, oh, and they kind of softened. And I thought, that's it. And then they could spend the rest of their couple hours just like hugging and laughing and being themselves.
Stephanie March is with us. She wrote about this in her Substack, Pickle by Steph March. At Substack.com. And the question that I asked in a texter is like, sounds like a chick series. And it's like, wow. There's a lot of nudity if you're into that. Like there's something for the guys or something.
Yeah, there's definitely sleazoids and a lot of strippers. So there you go.
So there's something for everybody. Do you think, and we were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
Can guys have friendships like that? I will say, like, I've always had a little bit of envy for towards people who have like that college friendship that has lasted forever. Because I don't really have that. But the way guys have friendships that last through the years, I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's this raw. It's more of like putting on a comfortable shoe that you can slide into this easy relationship. Maybe it's changing. Maybe guys are talking a little bit more about how they feel. I don't know.
I think so. I think when I look at my son's relationships with their friends, and I have a 30-year-old son who has good friends from high school and college all around, and it's sort of like he still tracks with them in good ways, I think. But I really look at that younger generation, even, like 20-year-old who is, kind of got a whole different aspect of what it means to be masculine. And I think that's sort of redefined how he shares things with other people. But I do agree, like our age bracket, the 50 plus, it's hard.
Yeah, like and maybe, I don't know, maybe talking about it can model it. Like it's all right to talk to your guy friends about how you feel. And it's all right to say like, you know what? Like I sort of sometimes feel like a failure around you guys, but I also love you. Like, and you're an idiot and you're mean and you're, whatever. Like some of the benefit of that time is like you see each other's warts in a way that can be freeing, I think.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I keep coming back to the fact of, I hate to say and be like, the downer on this, but we don't have that much time left.
Yeah, no, that's true.
We have more years behind us than we probably do ahead of us. And I keep thinking, I'm not going to waste time pretending or, kind of like not understanding or saying how I feel. So those are important, I think, when you have friendships.
It's really good. You should check out Steph's Substack. Just search for what? Pickle?
Pickle by Steph March.
Are there other people writing about pickles on Substack? Like
there apparently are. There was a couple other pickle people, so I had to make sure that we put the name in there. I know it's pretty hilarious.
Right.
It's not about food, that's even more hilarious that I named it a pickle.
That's right.
So.
People might know you from your days as food editor and doing all the food stuff at Minneapolis St. Paul magazine, but
right on.
Check it out. Thanks, Steph. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chase. Talk to you later.
I think that's pretty fun. Twins baseball. We'll take the temperature of the Twins as we walk you up to pregame in a minute here on CCO.
Jason DeRusha and Drive Time needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about your landscaping. It's Jason here for the team at Professional Turf You can get them at professionalturf.com. I call them ProTurf. ProTurf has been here in the Twin Cities for 3 decades. They have an unbelievable team. It's going to be a special experience for you when you reach out to ProTurf. And if you are looking to do a project like a major landscape project, the reason I want to recommend ProTurf is that they understand the whole deal. Like, because they take care of lawns, they take care of irrigation systems. They've been there, they've done that. They are the best of the best. Certified landscape designers. And in fact, when you buy a landscape project with ProTurf, they give you that design for free, which is pretty awesome. Now, their landscape team wants you to know that your landscape, if you've had those plants since your home was built, they're probably overgrown. They may be unusable. A lot of us, like, we'll do a kitchen project or we'll do something in the house, but we do nothing outside the house. Think of the transformation. ROI of up to 100%. You're going to say, why didn't I do this earlier? Get to professionalturf.com to see their work or make a call, 952-469-8680. That's ProTurf.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
I'm John Taft, Vice Chairman of Baird. For over 100 years, Baird's people and expertise have made a difference in the financial advice and services we provide. Our experts on 3 continents combine diverse backgrounds and perspectives to meet your needs. Being nationally recognized as a great place to work helps Baird attract the best people in our industry to advise you. Experience a different kind of financial partnership. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
O'Reilly. Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Harbor Freight knows time is money, so for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 20 electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point, so you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025, while supplies last. Limitations apply.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Well, the joy of early bedtime. And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market, shop and store online. You're going to find some activity off to the right side of West 694 as you make way past 35W, and that's keeping things a little bit on the slow side as you make the run from Lexington all the way up to Highway 252. If you're going to be traveling over on the East Metro, North 35 East and Sewing Maryland Avenue to Roselawn, find quality produce at Whole Foods Market. Get 4 yellow mangoes for $5 with Prime through April 8th. Have them alone as a tangy snack or dice them into jalapeno salsa. While supplies last, shop and store online, termsapply.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Bradshaw and Bryant seeking justice for the injured at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com bring us the forecast tonight. No, nothing of note. Low of 36. Tomorrow, isolated showers. 56 is the high. Thursday, 50. 60 Friday, 70 Sunday. What? Crazy. Right now it's 48. And sun's still out here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DERUSHA. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Are the Twins cooking or on a cooling trend? A hot streak for our big bats? Or have we hit a cold spell? And is the bullpen still bringing the heat? Let's get a read on our hometown 9 as we take the temperature of the team. Brought to you by Chef IQ Sense. Never under or overcook your chicken, fish, pork, or beef again with Chef IQ Sense. Get your wireless meat thermometer now at chefiq.com.
Dan, you're going to help me take the temperature of the Minnesota Twins.
Okay.
Thanks to our friends at Chef IQ and the Chef IQ Sense. What would you say the temperature would be of the batting?
Ice cold.
Ice cold.
Yeah.
How about the temperature of the pitching?
Also ice cold.
And how about the temperature of Rocco Baldelli?
Red hot last night.
Red hot
Woo,
last
is he
night.
fired up.
Rocco,
pitch time violation on Woods
as you
Richardson.
can
That's
hear
going to be ball 4.
from the Twins TV.
And Vasquez, he's in the face of Nick Lentz. Rocco's in there as well.
Now, if
And
you're
I don't
good
think
at
Rocco's
lip
gonna be
reading,
long for this game.
I don't think he was
But a pitch
pleased.
time violation called on Woods Richardson, and that
I mean, when the veins in the neck are
Ball
popping
4.
as he comes out of the dugout, that's a bad sign.
and puts India on.
I was holding out some hope that this would be the moment, right? Sometimes these managers come out to make a ruckus to kind of
Reading
get
Rocco's
the
lips there
team
for a moment, he
fired
said he
up.
didn't
And,
do that. Now what Lentz said,
you know, you're like, oh, is this going to work?
Lots of pointing by Rocco.
But Kansas City, it was a very delicate ejection. It wasn't my favorite. Baseball umpires love a
yes,
good
he did, is
ejection,
what Rocco
don't
was
they?
saying.
Sure.
Why not? It's fun.
But in this case, I think the umpire knew that there had been a mistake made.
The umpires did screw it.
Did not want
I believe what Rocco said, if you were closely reading the lips, was that you
bleeped up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocco's been
So
ejected.
if you didn't see the game last night, Simeon Woods Richardson at one point stepped off of the rubber and pointed to his hat because he was having trouble hearing the pitch clock.
Couldn't hear that thing.
Couldn't hear the pitch clock, which you're allowed to do even in the era of the pitch clock. You're allowed to step off if there's a communication disruption. The umpire either didn't see it or didn't acknowledge it.
Or didn't.
The pitch clock kept going, so Simeon quick gets back on the rubber and starts to get into his windup. And then before there's still 2 seconds left on the clock, the umpire waves his arm and says, "No, it's a pitch clock violation." And of course, it was a 3-ball count at that point, so that's a walk. Now there's a runner on the base. And Rocco came out right away and explained to the umpire in no uncertain terms why that was a bad call.
So Rocco's been
and
ejected
got
here
an
in the
early
6th
shower
inning.
because of it.
The Twins went down 4-2. They are currently 3-7.
It all started with one
And-
smart decision. Ella chose a certified used truck from her Ford dealer. She got a multi-point inspection, a Ford back
Twins
warranty,
baseball
and
coming
roadside
up on
assistance.
CCO.
After all, one smart decision leads
came
to
in over
another.
10 years ago, and
Ford
I
Blue
couldn't
Advantage.
breathe
Used car buying that's built for you.
Ever since then, now
Francisco
I can't breathe.
Lindor's been getting the Mets off to fast starts. Base hits leading off the first inning in each of the last 4 games. And Lindor blasts one to deep right field.
Jason here for my friend Chris Lindahl. Today, when you're listening to Twins right here on CCO, when you get the 7th inning stretch, I want you to do the Lindahl. It's just the right thing to do. Chris Lindahl is an unbelievable guy. He's a friend of mine. He has helped my wife and I when we were looking at houses last year, and he can help you sell your home quickly for top dollar. The guaranteed cash offer is about the only guarantee in the economy today, in the housing market, As the spring comes, we don't know what interest rates are going to be. We don't know what the inventory will be, but we do know that the guaranteed cash offer will get you to the finish line, let you sell your house, and you pick the closing day. You're in control. No open house, no nonsense. Let Chris Lindahl do the work for you. Start it at chrislindahl.com.
Hey, WCCO listeners, Henry Lake of the Lake Show here for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and